excavation vehicles. It found the awarding of the contract was irregular and Mabe's company had misrepresented some facts while bidding for that tender. Mabe, along with 6 co-accused, appeared in the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court today, facing several charges including fraud and money laundering. Alpha Ramushwana reports.
Last year, the SIU obtained a preservation order against former ANC spokesperson Pula Mabe's assets after concluding its investigation into his alleged irregular 27 million rand tender. Mabe says after reviewing the docket, he believes there are sufficient grounds to challenge the SIU's findings, which resulted in his arrest last year.
The lawyers handling the case are dealing with the submissions and everything. I wouldn't want to get into the theater of what has happened and has not happened legally. Otherwise, I would not have had to appoint a legal team.
Mabe has also made representations to have his fraud and corruption charges withdrawn. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News in Palm Ridge.
Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia says he hopes Interpol can help South Africa to tackle financial crime and corruption. He was delivering the opening address at the 27th Interpol African Regional Conference in Cape Town today. Carlo Peterson is there.
Acting Minister of Police Feroz Kachalia, along with National Commissioner Fani Masimola and Interpol President Ahmed Nasser Al-Raisi, today set the tone for the 3-day Interpol African Regional Conference. Masimola opened the event saying he hopes the conference will foster bold decisions that will help contribute to peace in Africa. Al-Raisi says Interpol aims to reinforce South Africa as a key force in regional and international peace. Kachalia says he hopes the establishment of the Interpol African Committee will strengthen collaborations to fight transnational crimes.
Such a committee will enable us to approach transnational organized crime in Africa in a more structured, coherent and unified manner so that we are better able to address our common challenges.
Kachalia says the conference will also look at how Interpol can help South Africa fight financial crime and corruption. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News at the Century City Conference Centre.
DA Gauteng leader Solim Simang has threatened to file a motion of no confidence against Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi. Simang addressed dozens of DA supporters outside Lesufi's office in Johannesburg today during an anti-crime campaign. The DA handed over a memorandum to Lesufi's office raising issues of concern around crime in the province and the lack of resources at police stations. Oren Singh has more.
DA Gauteng leader Solim Simang says Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi is not serious about fighting crime. Speaking outside Lesufi's office in Joburg CBD this morning, Msimanga threatened to file a motion of no confidence against Lesufi.
We are seeing more vehicles around this building here than you would have in certain police stations. So we are saying this cannot continue to happen. And therefore, if he's not willing to engage us, if he's not willing to listen, perhaps then it's time for him to go.
Special advisor to Lesufi, Mxolisi Kayea, says Msimanga is making empty threats on issues they've prioritized and addressed.
We have assisted extensively. If you look at the number of wardens that are around, including their vehicles, working with subs in police stations. They are not just working on their own. They are working in police stations.
The DA raised issues about a lack of vehicles at several police stations in the province, as well as holding cells. Arun Singh, Eyewitness News.
To this now, despite the United States slapping South Africa with 30% trade tariffs, International Relations Minister Ronald Lamola says the relationship between the two countries remains resilient. This afternoon, Lamola announced that a U.S. Congress staff delegation will be hosted in South Africa just this week. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
Minister Ronald Lamola says government continues to hold various strategic meetings both on political and government levels with the United States. This includes a recent meeting he had with the U.S. Charge d'Affaires, David Green, while Deputy Minister Alvin Boertes held a video conference with the U.S. Deputy Secretary of State, Christopher Landau, to discuss trade and geopolitical issues. On Saturday, President Cyril Ramaphosa spoke to U.S. President Donald Trump over the phone. Lamola says the country's laws are also being explained in these interactions.
On domestic matters ranging from broad-based black economic empowerment, the Expropriation Act, we continue to reiterate that these are matters which are firmly within the grasp of the South African people and its sovereignty.
Lamola says official crime statistics do not bear out the false claims made in the U.S. Human Rights Report 2024 that farm-related violence is directed towards a single race group only. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
And in Australia, residents in Victoria have been urged to remain indoors as police search for a suspect who shot and killed 2 police officers. According to reports, Desi Freeman, who is heavily armed and experienced in wilderness survival skills, shot the officers when they tried to execute a search warrant at his property just yesterday. The 59-year-old fled on foot to a nearby forest where an intensive search for him has continued into today. Police have had to lock down several public buildings, including an airfield as well as a local school. Gold is trading at $3,385.35 an ounce. The rand is at 17.72 to the dollar, 23.83 to the pound, 20.54 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $67.32 a barrel.
There's a multi-vehicle accident scene in the Lenasia area on the Golden Highway. This is near Navon Drive, causing heavy delays. Devland, also roadworks, still causing heavy delays on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue, and traffic is sluggish in Sharon Lee on Malibongo Drive between Belize and the N1.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 26 and 29 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, former ANC spokesperson Pule Mabe is approaching the Gauteng High Court seeking to challenge the Special Investigating Unit's forensic report on his alleged fraudulent activities.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
A very good afternoon, everyone. It's 8 minutes past 3 on Wednesday, the 27th of August. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman, wherever you are listening to us in 702 land. Welcome to the show. It's 3 years now since the Free State community of Jagersfontein was devastated. I'm sure you recall the story. A tailings dam burst, homes were destroyed, farmland and grazing areas were poisoned, and lives were lost. What has been done to bring justice and restitution between now and then? What happens in the community going forward? More on that story after 4. Some other things we're covering. SA arms company Denel is being sued by a US company for failure to deliver on an aircraft contract. What went wrong? Puzzling, really, because we are often told about all the difficulties Denel faces. Is this a self-inflicted wound? Defence Web correspondent Dean Wingren joins us shortly to talk about that. South African star of stage and screen, John Carney, has been elected as a member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Science. What's that, you might ask? Well, the Academy, custodian of the Academy Awards, the Oscars, an honour indeed richly deserved, but presumably an opportunity as well. What does Dr. Carney plan to do with that? He joins us on the show at 10 to 4. And if you were to come into a lot of money, no laughing at the back of the class, please, it could happen. How would you spend it? We'll talk about that in Minding Your Money, our regular feature every Wednesday at 10 to 5. We've got all that and a whole lot more on 702 Drive, including breaking news from the roads in our regular traffic updates and the latest from the markets. The All Shares down again today by around 415 points. Platinum stocks having a particularly rough day. Couple of examples there. Valterra down by 4.45. Sibanye by 4.24. Implats hit hard as well. Surprisingly, Blue Telecoms, which posted stellar results, is one of the biggest losers, off by 8.75%, possibly already priced into the share price over a year in which the share has gone up, I think, by 178% in the year to date. Doing well, but not today. Having a better day today, Aspen up by 6.3%. Woolies has gained 5.6%. Rand having a mixed day, currently trading at 17.75 against the dollar, 10 points weaker than this time yesterday, you could say, I suppose. the dollar 10 cents stronger. The currency is 20 Rand 57 against the euro. A pound will cost you 23 Rand 72. That's the Rand strengthening there by 9 cents. The price of Brent crude, which is up by 41 cents and currently trading at $66.81 a barrel. Nevertheless, the price well under 70, which is always good news. Stephen Curtis joining us with all the details at 4:25. We'll get sport with Tolakele Mganga. Mbali Dlamini has the latest news headlines. Karabo Chale is keeping an eye on the roads. This is 702 Drive. We're live in the place where you live, wherever you live. And if it's happening in 702 land, we'll do our level best to bring it to you first. But of course, if you want to help and can help, you know about a story perhaps we haven't yet heard about, an angle or a detail we might have missed, this is where you get us. 072 702 1702 or 011 883 0702. It's 12 minutes past 3.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
As always, lots to talk about, lots to inquire about, and lots to think about, including some thoughts that you could say are a little bit random. Although this particular question on my mind comes directly out of the news. Now, Carlos Alcaraz, world number 2 in men's singles in tennis, had just won his first round at the US Open, and he got all sorts of questions, but one of them that seemed to come up more than once was a question that asked him about his haircut. It was phrased rather carefully. The journalist who asked this particular question spoke about the timeline of your transformation and the role played in that by Alcaraz's brother. Let's hear his answer.
Quite different, I guess. Yeah. I mean, it was just. I felt like my hair was really long already, and before the tournament, I just suddenly, just my brother just he was misunderstood with the machine. He just cut it, and then the only way to fix it is just save it all. And it just why it came, this haircut. But to be honest, it's not that good. It's not that bad, I guess.
Why was your brother cutting your hair when there's? I know, like in Paris, you brought your Victor, to Paris to cut your hair.
Yeah, I mean, New York is too far away, for Victor. So
there's also thousands of professional people in New York.
Yeah, it just okay. I not really into the hair at all. So I'm the guy who thinks like, okay, the hair grows, and in a few days it's gonna be already okay, I guess. So it just happened, and that's it.
Yep, hair does grow, except when it doesn't, but that's clearly not Carlos Alcaraz's problem. The bit I loved about that explanation, he doesn't, by the way, name which of his brothers was wielding the machine that he said his brother misunderstood. I thought that was a wonderful way of putting it, rather delicate. Clearly his brother, and he says he just cut it. So in my mind, I can see clippers and a look on his brother's face that says, oops, or whatever the equivalent in Spanish is. What is Spanish for oops, if you happen to know? Give us a call on that on 011 883 0702. Stories of haircuts that have gone a little bit wrong. Karabo Chale, has that ever happened to you?
Not really. I'm a simple guy, Chiskop, so you can't really go wrong with that. I remember when I was a kid, my mom used to like shaving all my hair and only leaving a little piece in front here. I guess it was cute for her, but now looking back at the photos, it was, I didn't like it. My son, he's very specific about the barber he goes to. One day we had an emergency, so he had to cut at a different barber, and he did a really bad job. And then we had to cut it all off because it was a bad haircut, and he was just crying the whole week. He didn't like his Chiskop. He didn't like it at all. So we felt bad, but we had to do it because the hairstyle was just not good enough.
Kabazela, hairstyles?
Yeah, I mean, I must say, John, I've never had a mishap with a haircut, and I've never had somebody who is untrained, let's call it that, cut my hair. I was always very specific when I had a lot of it. But I mean, I think I've cut my dad's hair once or twice, but that was quite easy with the clippers because it was just basically, take it all off, which is very easy. But I don't understand why people would want somebody they know, Chomi or whatever, to cut their hair if they want a star.
Yes.
You're looking for trouble with that because it's a little slight miss of the hand or whatever. And then you're left with a mishap. But, I've had one or two bad haircuts, but not enough to think, oh my goodness, I need to shave it all off. Thank God.
Yeah. Well, I will later tell a story about how I had to get my brother to cut my hair because I had no choice. Because all the barber shops were closed and I was in serious trouble in school if I didn't come looking like I had less hair than I had the day before. So that for later, but your stories first, please, on 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. A hair event that went horribly wrong that you can now talk about, look back on, and hopefully laugh about it with us, please. 072 702 1702, 17 past 3. Let's find out what's happening in the traffic.
Well, John, at this stage in the Lenasia area, there's a multi-vehicle accident scene. This is on the Golden Highway at Nirvana Drive, causing heavy delays. Also in the Devland area, we still have roadworks slowing down traffic. Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue. Sharon Lee, there's traffic pressure on Malibongo Drive between Belez and the N1, while in Kempton Park, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is on Pretoria Road between CR Swart and Plain Road. There's been delays there throughout the afternoon. If you have any idea what's causing that delay, please let us know. WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Can you share with us, TG, about the state of the party's finances? Because there have been issues around salaries that are not being paid at some point. Where are you now in terms of your finances? Have you managed to stabilize that?
I would prefer not to discuss the finances of the ANC because I don't think it is necessary. I thought I was also here to deal with the issues of this being a Women's Month.
But TG, you're the Treasurer General of the ANC. I wouldn't invite a senior leader like you to just talk about women's issues.
It's not minimizing, not to talk about other things. But all I can say is that we have worked very hard to stabilize the finances, and we are stable, and also we need to work even harder.
Clements Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
The 12th edition of the DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star, is here. Experience unbeatable vibes this Heritage Weekend at the Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit on the 20th and 21st of September. On Saturday 20, catch Don Toliver, Questa, Inkabi Zizwe and more. Then on Sunday 21, don't miss the iconic Lauryn Hill on her 25th anniversary tour, with special guests Wycliffe Jean, YG Marley and Zion Marley, with Lira, Mandisi Janchis and Zoe Modicha also performing on that Sunday. Tickets at Ticketmaster, the DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star and proudly supported by 702.
Do you know what's hiding behind the colorful packaging of unhealthy food? Big food companies target children with unhealthy packaged foods that hide high levels of sugar, salt, and fat, which could lead to heart disease, diabetes, and hypertension. But the truth is hidden from consumers. Front of package warning labels are a proven solution to help consumers make informed decisions. The government must act now. We have the right to know what's in our food. Demand front of package warning labels. Sign the petition on heala.org, HEALA.org, by the 30th of September.
Business Outsurance are experts in business insurance for optometrists, surgeons, and other medical specialists. Here's Chrissy.
Business Outsurance is the best insurer for my business. They have great premiums, wonderful service. I know without a doubt that Outsurance has my back, and You always get something out with Outsurance.
Switch to business Outsurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Visit outsurance.co.za. Switch and save today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Herschel Gibbs here with more than just a crypto ad. Crypto payments are now live on 10bet. And there's more. Download the app, deposit, and get an extra 5% in cash. The future of betting, faster, safer, and smoother. Play now at 10bet.co.za. 10bet is a licensed betting operator and supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 shall be permitted to bet. Betting can be addictive. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
At Premier Hotels and Resorts, business travelers staying alone enjoy a complimentary drink every night of their stay. So, whatever your tipple, it's on the house at any of our 24 hotels and resorts nationwide. Book today at premierhotels.co.za.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. Well, we often talk about the kinds of things that go on in our state-owned companies, invariably not running terribly well, running up debts. Corruption has dogged many and most of them, I think it's fair to say. And that's been true as well of the company Denel. So it's come as something of a surprise to hear that a US company, Draken International, Draken, is suing Denel for 124 million rand, which I'm assuming they don't have lying around, for failing to deliver 9 of 12 Cheetah fighter jets that were ordered 8 years ago for air training in that country. Now, the thing that I'm really intrigued to understand more about is we've heard that the trading conditions have been very difficult for Denel. Why then, if they had a contract, did they fail to deliver? Let's try and get some information and insight then. Dean Wingren is aviation and defense journalist at the publication Defense Web. Mr. Wingren, welcome and thanks very much for your time. What do you make of all of this? I mean, does Draken have a case or does Denel have a vigorous defense, do you think?
Good afternoon, and always a pleasure to talk about aeroplanes. But in this case, well, we've been those who've been following the case for the last couple of years have been expecting this court case to appear. And I think this is, one instance where I actually do feel sorry for Denel and its subsidiary at the time, Denel Aeronautics, because they were kind of faced with the perfect storm, as it were. The guys on the ground and the technicians were very good. I mean, these aircraft were ex-South African Air Force. They were withdrawn to make place for the new Gripen jets in 2008, and they were handed back to Denel to sell them internationally.
Right.
So a number of the very early Cheetah E aircraft were sold to Chile, and also about 12 or 13 of these Cheetah C and the two-seater Cheetah Ds were actually sold to Ecuador, and they were operated very successfully by Ecuador.
Right.
So around 2017, Denel still had quite a number of these airframes, and they were getting old. When they were retired, they had very advanced radars, electronic warning systems, and so on. So there are companies overseas that assist foreign air forces, like the American Air Force, with what we call adversary training, and that is this private company will hire ex-Air Force pilots, and they'll get retired Air Force jets, and they will use them to train the new Air Force pilots in tactics and techniques and so on.
Okay.
And Draken International is just one of those companies that bought a whole lot of Spanish Air Force Mirage F1s and so on. So they were they had a contract with the American Air Force to provide these adversary services.
Okay.
So they came into an agreement with Denel, to purchase at least about 12 of these aircraft.
No, I'm just wondering. So I mean, the background is important, but they had a contract to supply 12. They only supplied 3. What went wrong?
Yeah, so as they were retired, Denel got a group of some retired people who were still qualified on the aircraft, their technicians, and a number of young people, and they brought these aircraft up to very, very good standards of airworthiness and capability. Draken International was involved in this all the way and assisting. Unfortunately, other parts of this perfect storm now started descending on Denel from 2019. And there was the COVID pandemic, which delayed things a bit.
Absolutely.
And then one of the big things was the gutting of Denel from state capture. You know, the leadership, while the people on the ground and in the hangars were getting these aircraft ready, there were some strange decisions made by the senior management and leadership of Denel. And this contract wasn't exactly top of mind. The cash flow at Denel was literally in the negative. So parts like the cartridges for the ejection seat, Denel couldn't afford to purchase these parts for the aircraft. And because of the cash flow situation and the experiences of the part suppliers, they wouldn't give these parts to Denel on credit, and so that was one of the issues. And then straight after, while those issues were happening, the American Air Force then decided that, hang on, we actually want to insource a lot of this aggressor training back into the American Air Force. So Draken International actually lost the contract that these aircraft were due to be purchased for.
Wow. I mean, it really does. And thank you, Dean Wingren, joining us from DefenceWeb. It really does illustrate, though, what happens when you hollow out companies like Denel. Contracts are often already in place, but the means and the will to actually deliver on those contracts becomes increasingly difficult. And now we're sitting with a lawsuit of 124 million rand. And I say we because, hey, if the money is going to have to be paid by Denel, as you probably know, it's going to have to be paid by you. It's 28 minutes past 3.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
What do South Africans who are looking to add value do tomorrow?
Support Proudly South African.
Does that mean labor, manufacturing?
Across.
Vusi are xenophobic.
No. I have nothing against anybody else's country. I just love mine. The second, when one of us fails, give grace and criticize in private so you help the other person grows. And then the third, stop seeing your politicians as rock stars. They are here to do the job for you. You are not there to ululate for them when they arrive at the stadium.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
At the heart of global conversations shaping the future, Africa's voice matters more than ever. As Africa's largest bank by assets and lead sponsor of the B20 Summit, Standard Bank Group is proud to spotlight the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Through informed dialogue and powerful partnerships, Standard Bank is driving sustainable growth where it matters most. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Be in the right place at the right time with Betway's jackpot slots. Stand to win your share of millions of rands in cash every week. Bet on selected slots every Thursday and Friday night between 7 and 10 p.m. and you could be our next big winner. The more you play, the more chances to win. Get way more only at Betway. Terms and conditions apply. Betway is licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No persons under the age of 18 are permitted to gamble. NRGP Counseling Line 0800 006 008. All events are fixed odds betting games.
You could do something first and still be doing it wrong. What hurts is sprinting but never making it to the finish line. Quit going in the wrong direction because with Sunny Sixt, you can rent here and globally. Other car rental companies only have a vision to try harder. We actually deliver. While they leave you feeling blue, our budget and vibe match yours. For a tailored service offering premium at every stage, book premium car rental excellence with Sani Sixt.
Right, let's get the very latest eyewitness news. It's 3:30. The NSFAS has a new board. Let's find out more about that and other stories as well with Mbali Dlamini. Good afternoon.
Well, good afternoon, Tate John. It's Mongezi Koko. We start here. The NSFAS board has approved 6 key projects to restore governance and address long-standing administrative challenges within the organization. Now, during a media briefing in Pretoria today, board chairperson Karen Stander says the projects include a revised operating model and a loan management strategy. The session also addressed challenges linked to the 2025 academic year, providing updates on student application, allowances and ICT systems. Jabuli Limbata reports.
Earlier this month, newly appointed Higher Education Minister Tidi Madia made NSFAS his top priority, promising to stabilize the troubled scheme. He added a clear framework would be established within 3 months, led by a dedicated task team. Today, board chairperson Karen Stander confirmed that 6 turnaround projects have now been approved to drive this process forward. These include organizational design and realignment, a loan management strategy, sustainable funding framework, a transitional framework for student accommodation, ICT assessment and digital transformation, and a revised operating model. Board chairperson Karen Stander.
We are firmly committed to dedicating our resources to the critical priorities, with the conviction that such focus will enable NSFAS to emerge as a transformative force for the good of South Africa.
She added that the projects are aimed at addressing governance failures, reputational damage, and delivery backlogs. Jabuli Limbata, Eyewitness News.
In the Eastern Cape, a state witness in the Lusikisiki massacre has revealed that the families of accused number 1 and the families of victims were enemies. The witness, who is related to some of those killed in Gwabazana village last year, told the court that Mzuki Sindamase was his neighbor. The case of the murders of 18 people is being heard at the Mthatha High Court sitting in Lusikisiki. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports from the Eastern Cape.
The state witness, who cannot be named for security reasons, is related to the Matu family. 4 members of this family were shot and killed during the attack. This includes the witness's grandmother. He told the court that accused 1, the alleged mastermind Mzuki Sindamase, is his neighbor. He says he started speaking to him while in prison in Mthatha. Ndamase was sentenced to life imprisonment for murder and has been in prison for 17 years. When asked about the relationship between his family and the accused, he said they hated each other because Ndamasa's mother had accused his family of witchcraft. Proceedings are set to continue. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape.
And in Turkey, a family relative has accidentally killed a groom on his wedding day. Now, local media is reporting that the groom was hit by a celebratory gunfire after his wedding in the north of the country. The 23-year-old was allegedly being escorted home after the ceremony and was wounded by gunfire at the hands of his wife's female relative. The 47-year-old woman has been detained by security forces, and 2 unlicensed pistols have been found in her garden. It's a partly cloudy day in Gauteng. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 26 and 29.
Lenasia, there's a multi-vehicle accident on the Golden Highway. That's near Nirvana Drive, causing heavy delays. Also, Sharon Lee, traffic remains sluggish on Malibongo Drive between Belair and the N1. And in Kempton Park, bumper-to-bumper traffic on Pretoria Road between CR Swart and Plain Road.
The top story in EWN this hour. The NSFAS board has approved 6 key projects to restore governance and address long-standing administrative challenges within the organization.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
The whole world is talking about it. They're talking about the love story. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are engaged. Why are we all so in our feelings about the fact that Taylor and Travis are engaged? I think this is a pretty solid relationship.
But I'm happy to see her also happy. You can just see that, just genuinely happy. She seems like a level-headed girl. I'm rooting for her, honestly.
Mbuyiselo Vilakazi, entertainment commentator.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
The Johannesburg Philharmonic Orchestra wraps up its early spring season under the baton of popular conductor Daniel Boycho, featuring internationally renowned violinist Suzanne Howe. The evening of crowd-pleasing blockbusters includes Liszt's Hungarian Rhapsody, Wieniawski's Violin Concerto and Tchaikovsky's Symphony No. 7. Thursday, 28 August at 7:30 p.m. at the Linda Auditorium. Book your tickets at Quicket.
So you thought you were building a business? In this economy? Good luck. But day by day, somehow it grew. You became payroll, procurement, PR, and pressure valve. You kept going when the freezer didn't freeze, the bucket didn't budge, and the bank balance barely blinked. What's that saying again? What doesn't kill your business makes it stronger? Or at least it should be that. So you thought you were building a business. You weren't. It was building you. Because this isn't just what you do anymore. It's who you are. And you don't trust just anybody to protect it. Chat to your broker about Old Mutual Insure Business Insurance. Protect what built you. Old Mutual Insure Limited is a licensed FSP and non-life insurer.
Every day, most of us spend an hour in the food aisle, stressing about what to make for dinner. That's 29,200 hours of your life spent shopping and deliberating over what's for dinner. Why not trade that internal drama for watching a little on-screen drama? Or whatever else you want to do. And let You Cook handle dinner. Delivered, prepped, and ready to cook. So, choose You Cook and take back some me time. Visit youcook.co.za to find out how.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Bad hair experiences. I have to mention what happened prior to a trip to Antarctica. I decided that I would have a haircut and a perm so that it would be my hair would be very easy to manage on the trip to Antarctica. I didn't know just how dry the air is and that your skin and your lips and your hair, every bit of moisture is sucked out of it. So I went from a relatively good haircut and a kind of acceptable perm in Joburg to an absolute nightmare in Antarctica. Karen Trendler, Joburg.
I bought a pair of hair clippers because I wanted to cut my son's hair instead of taking them to the barber all the time. So I said, who is first? I'd never done this before. Anyway, I sat him on the chair and asked, so what kind of haircut do you want? And he said to me, I want a Bart Simpson. Oh my gosh, how do I do that? Anyway, after I'd cut his hair, he jumped off the chair, ran to the bathroom, looked in the mirror and started bawling his eyes out. And I said to him, so what's wrong now? He said, I asked for a Bart Simpson. You gave me an O.J. Simpson.
Come on, man. Do you guys mean to tell me that I was the only one that had a dodgy haircut in COVID? I'm sure that you all had one. Come on, admit to it. Okay, bye.
Yeah, stories. I suppose we're going to have a terrible hairdo. A trip to Antarctica is probably the best way you could deal with that. It's 21 minutes to 4 o'clock now. Let's get the very latest sport.
EWN Sport.
Huge match in the Betway Premiership tonight. Tola Kele, take us through it.
Well, John, it'll see Kaizer Chiefs hosting Mamelodi Sundowns at the FNB Stadium. The Glamour Boys have won 3 in a row in the league, while the Brazilians were knocked out of the MTN 8 on Saturday. As a result, Captain Ignacio Miguel believes that the Pretoria side will be desperate to return to winning ways.
People are thinking that because Sundowns lost the game against Pirates, they are no longer having confidence. But I don't see that way. I see it's part of the football, Of course, Sundowns, it's a big club. They play for big trophies. But as I said, our focus is not in Sundowns. We have to be focused in ourselves, in our job.
The PSL have confirmed that the MTN 8 final will take place at Mbombela Stadium in Mpumalanga. The clash will be a repeat of last year's finale, with Orlando Pirates taking on Stellenbosch on the 13th of September. Switching over to England, where 4th tier Grimsby Town will host Manchester United in a Carabao Cup second round match tonight. Ruben Amorim says he will rotate his team as they go in search of their first win of the new season.
It's a normal thing that happened in other clubs. I think we were not prepared to play Europe. That is my feeling, to have strong games in Champions League and then play Premier League. We need time to develop as a team. They just need to fight for the places, and then everything can change. Sometimes one is playing, other moments, other guys are going to play, and we have the cups, so he's going to have a lot of games for everybody.
And Iga Swiatek and Jannik Sinner claimed easy first-round wins at the US Open, while Coco Gauff needed 3 sets to overcome Alja Tomljanovic. In action today is Lloyd Harris, who plays Taylor Fritz, while the likes of Carlos Alcaraz and Novak Djokovic are also in second-round action. At the same time, Venus Williams will compete in the women's doubles, having been awarded a wild card with Leylah Fernandez. Williams won the doubles title in 1999 and 2009, both with younger sister Serena. Tola Gilimganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Right, let's find out what's happening out on the roads at 19 minutes to 4. I guess the traffic is building up. Particular problems, though, in the south of Joburg, I believe, Karabo Chale.
Yes, that's in the Lenasia area. Multi-vehicle accident and roadworks on the Golden Highway near Nirvana Drive, causing huge delays at this hour. In Devland, roadworks also slowing down traffic on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue. Sharonlee, traffic sluggish on Malibongo Drive between Belaise and the N1. And in Kempton Park, bumper-to-bumper traffic on Pretoria Road between CR Swart and Plain Road. I'll have your next Eyewitness News traffic update just after 4.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
18 minutes to 4 on 702 Drive. We take a departure now from the program we had planned to bring you some very, very difficult news from the 702 family. I'm joined in the studio by 2 of my senior colleagues, Mzotolo Georgiana, Chief Content Officer at Prime Media Broadcasting, and Nisa Ali, who's Editor-in-Chief at EWN. And Nisa, you're here to share with us some news of great sadness.
It is with great sadness and regret that we announce the passing of Tidi Madia, EWN's Associate Editor, Politics. Tidi passed away in hospital this morning after a short illness. Tidi was the jewel in EWN's crown. She was a powerhouse. She was brave. She was the consummate professional who worked tirelessly in pursuit of the truth. She led by example, mentoring and training many young political journalists. She formed a formidable politics team, which she was so proud of, and delivered one exclusive after the next with absolute humility and professionalism. She constantly raised the bar for herself, juggling reporting and her editor responsibilities daily. Laughter and robust debate would always surround Tidi. Outside of her public persona, Tidi was fiercely loyal to her family and friends. Her no-holds-barred approach seeped into every aspect of her life. She worked hard and loved even harder. The sun shines differently without you today, Matsuriso. Our thoughts, prayers, and support are with Tidi's father, her siblings, her nephews and nieces, aunts and uncles, cousins, and broader family.
Nisa, thank you for that, and obviously immensely difficult for all of us, but particularly difficult for you and the EWN team. I'll have my own thoughts about Tidi, because from time to time she would be on this show as she was on others, but she was right in the engine room, part of the heartbeat of EWN. So thank you for sharing that with us, painful as it was. I'm already seeing some of my listeners, our listeners, weighing in with their thoughts, and I'll share those tributes with the rest of the 702 family as we go along. But Mzotolo, you've known Tidi a long time. You would have had an overview, as in the various roles you've played, of her contribution, but let's give it to you for your thoughts.
Thanks, John. This is indeed a sad day at Prime Media Broadcasting. It's a sad day as the Prime Media family. It's a sad day for EWN, and my condolences go out to Tidi's family, to her colleagues in the newsroom. Nisa, I know this is very, very close to you and the rest of your team. John, we saddened. We are bleeding. today is a difficult day for all of us at Prime Media.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's interesting, the responses are immediate, and sometimes fewer words say as much as many. And the first message we got, thank you, Mike, for this. Tidi, I'm stunned. And then 3 words, she was fabulous, which I think is as good a way of putting it as any.
That's correct, John. I mean, you had Nisa just reflect on the powerhouse that she was.
Yes.
You know, my personal memory of Tidi was just always her mischievous laughter. She had this laughter, and she had this, she had this commentary, tongue-in-cheek. She'd always tease, me in the corridors, tease people on the corridors, but she was just a ball of energy. And, today our hearts are in great sorrow, but we will do right by our dear sister. Tidi was loved by many, many people across here at Prime Media as a family, on EWN, but beyond our own business, as it were. She was a respected power political journalist. She traveled the world. I think South Africa has lost a great journalist in Tidi Madia, and we're just deeply saddened by that.
I think we've also lost a really great South African, because what really struck me, and I'll when there are gaps, but I'll seize one now, just throw in some of my own thoughts. But the way Tidi spoke about politics was in a way that said, I care deeply. But she never cared so deeply that she lost her ability to judge what it is she was required to analyze. And I think that was the most extraordinary quality that she brought. But what was never missing was how much she loved, A, what the country was trying to do, and B, how determined she was that we should all get the best out of the place and the country where we live. Nisa, you wanted to come in.
And that love was relentless. That commitment was relentless. Many years ago, I heard Tidi's voice in a press conference. And I heard the question, and immediately I said to my colleagues, I was like, who is this person? I am so privileged to have been flanked by her. She and I would spend many a night discussing a range of things. And words fail one other than to say she embodied magic.
Yeah.
Nothing was ever too much. She would raise those benchmarks. She would trust us, her colleagues, to have her back. I would watch State of the Nation broadcasts, and at the point that Tidi came on air, I would see those numbers rise.
Yes.
I remember at the Union Buildings for the inauguration, this was soon after the Jacob Zuma interview, I was sitting on the bus and Tidi was across from me, and these 2 people were discussing the interview, not knowing that she was sitting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, please carry on. So just a thought. I mean, we measure, one of the ways in which we measure contribution is obviously output, what goes on air and in the public space. Nisa's spoken about a colleague, but also part of an engine room. The other contribution is the influence you as a senior and highly productive person, because that was the other thing about Tidi. I just thought, well, I'm on a 24-hour clock, but someone seems to have given you another 4 hours. Politricking, for example, was an extraordinary piece of political work. And as we grieve, that archive will really represent an amazing legacy. But her influence on younger journalists, you would have kept a close eye on that. Zor, give us your thoughts on that.
No, John, I mean, you're 100% right. That repository of work she's done with politricking is going to be her lasting legacy, and all the broad work she's done in the journalism space, But I mean, Tidi was a great mentor to young people. We'll know young reporters in the newsroom, the Alpha Ramshwanas of the world, were all under her tutelage. And we've seen how they've come to flower and their talents shining. Because Tidi was not a selfish person. It was never about her. It was all about other people, empowering. I mean, Nisa is kind of going down memory lane here. I remember when we had the president of the country in this very studio
With
that we're
Clement.
sitting, with Tidi and Clement sitting across the president. And
him wondering, well, why did I sign up for
correct.
this?
And, with a little bit of regret,
Yes.
of course, as a humorous moment. But this is the kind of work that embodied Tidi Madia. You know, she loved to impart knowledge to other people. John, you made a very good point earlier. She made us in South Africa understand why we should care about issues of politics, because they matter to everything else that happens in the country. And I think that will be her lasting legacy, and she will certainly be sorely missed.
You're making a great point, Mzor, because she interviewed politicians, but it was never just about politicians. It was about the implications of and consequence of what they do. Nisa, I'll come to you in a moment, but we have a caller that I'd like to give a chance, and let's bring in the sense of a wider loss than just beyond us. Zwelium Charlie is calling in from Action SA, head of media and comms of that party in Gauteng. Zweli, a very good afternoon to you. Good to have you, albeit in such sad circumstances.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, John. I don't know if we can say it's a good afternoon. Eh?
Yeah.
I just couldn't help myself, but yeah, it's... Look, man, Politicking with Tidi Madia, one of my favorite podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Not only, I believe, is Eyewitness News and 702 team that have to suffer this loss, but I believe the South African public in general, you know, if you understood how CD would take a stance when speaking to politicians, very unrelenting, quite committed to the truth and accountability, you know, and a better pursuit or rather a pursuit of a better nation. I think it's a huge loss for South Africa, the nation at large, but specifically for the political sphere, you know, which I operate in. And I would like to really send my heartfelt condolences to her family, her colleagues at Prime Media, her friends and loved ones, and to the general political segment that we operate in. I know she, like I said, she was very unrelenting, and she created a lot of animosity, you know.
That was her job, eh?
Absolutely.
Yes.
You know, but I think at the end of it all, it's for those of us who truly value the truth, accountability, and service delivery for the citizens of this country, it's such a huge loss.
Zwelium Charlie, thank you for that heartfelt tribute. We will certainly pass your condolences on as they come in to, first of all, the immediate family of Tidi Madia and, of course, the larger family of which she was so much a part. I'm getting so many WhatsApp messages, and I just want to go through a few before they become too many for me to actually catch up. I know you would want your message shared, and let me at least do my best to do a few. Annie, I'm absolutely devastated to hear the news of Tidi's passing. She was formidable. Another perfect word, I think. She was never intimidated by anyone she interviewed. She strove always for the truth. Annie says she will be sorely missed. That's from Paulshof. Calvin joins the morning and says this from out in Nikuruleni. My deepest sympathy and a privilege to have listened to her and her family. A great loss to this great station. I loved hearing her. Now when I heard of her passing, this is a loss that will take years to get over. May God bless 702 team, her family, and all of the listeners. As I said before, we will pass this on. Let me share this one from Lesibana. I'm deeply saddened by the passing of Tidi. Gone too soon, I'd say. Certainly true that. Very difficult to hold back the tears. Death is indeed cruel. True again. My condolences to her family, friends, and to the 702 family. And one more from D before we return to my colleague Nisa. I'm shocked. Just a regular 702 listener hearing about Tidi for the first time on John's program. There's nothing on the internet yet. Condolences to her family and colleagues. Nisa, you were holding a thought. I hope you still have it.
I do. I have many thoughts, John, and she and I went through the elections together last year. that interview you speak of was just one element of it. For months leading up to it, Tidi and her politics team had crisscrossed this country. She produced compelling, wonderful content that spoke to, and I think that was her gift, is that she was able to reflect what South Africans were feeling, and thinking. And when I think of like the hours spent, we, straight after the series that recently had been was a finalist for the Bookmark Awards, Tidi would often not take the praise very quickly. I would go and I'd say like, well done. And she's like, no, I need some time to process this. But we saw through a watermark election, hours spent at the results center. I have a video of the swearing-in ceremony. It started on the Friday and it ended on the Saturday. And I'm speaking to all of these examples because the fierce politics reporter was also the fierce editor.
Yes.
She was the person who absolutely led by example. The ship would not, nobody would be left abandoned on ship. She would stay till the end. As her friend, she gave me a run for my money. She would motivate, justify, come and pitch for things that her team needed, for stories that she wanted to do. The Oval Office and her presence there, I kept on saying to her, you are your own greatest gift.
Yes.
She was on a plane when she became viral, that video of the interview she had done. And I messaged her knowing that when she put on her phone, she would be inundated with all of these messages. And I said to her, here's a screenshot of what people are saying. You have said what so many of us felt listening and watching that. And one doesn't come across a Tidi many times in your professional or personal life.
You don't indeed.
I do want to go back to my team. I'm sitting here because Tidi would be doing this.
Yes.
Tidi would always prioritize her role, the EWN brand, and she understood wholeheartedly the responsibility and the enormity on her shoulders. So I want to leave with this, John. She had sent me a quote recently. And in honor of my dear friend, I would like to read this quote.
Please do.
In courage and poise, she boldly stands tall. Her heart beats in rhythm, a powerful call. Amidst life's harsh trials, her light shines so bright, a beacon of hope in the darkest of nights. Matsadiso means to comfort. She has been that and so much more to all of us.
Thank you so much. Mzor, final word from you.
Thanks, John. And I think Nisa's ended it beautifully. I think my last words for now, for today, because there'll be many more words said over a period of time, is again our extension of my condolences, Prime Media's condolences to Tidi Madia's family. They lent us the gift that was Tidi, and now it's time to return her back. And with that, thanks, John.
Mzotlolo Georgiana, Chief Content Officer at Prime Media, and Nisa Ali, Editor-in-Chief at EWN, leading what will be a period of mourning for our much-beloved and hugely admired colleague Tidi Madia. 702 Drive.
702 Afternoons
with Relebohile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
What are some of the things that we need to be looking at when we are choosing the appropriate medical aid plan?
From our experience, what we have found is that, people do not understand their medical aid well enough and sometimes makes these decisions purely based on the gut purchase, based on their affordability. But in answering your question, key for us in terms of the advice or guidance that we can give to the consumer is really understand what is your your day-to-day healthcare needs, understand in terms of that of your own, in terms of how frequently do you actually seek healthcare requirements, and understanding in terms of what you're paying for.
Lee Kellecopen, Principal Officer of Benita's Medical Fund.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebohile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
Now, often we find ourselves at crossroads in our lives. Usually that comes later, I would think. But imagine this. Imagine being 16 and deciding it's time to change your own life, no matter how daunting, no matter how scary. This Thursday on 702 Drive, we are going to spend time with a quite remarkable young man who made a courageous, life-changing decision to be his own hero. By choosing to undergo a cleft palate procedure, he didn't just transform his smile, he transformed his future. Catch this inspiring conversation made possible by the Dis-Chem Foundation on Thursday, 28 August, with me, John Perlman, on 702 Drive. And remember, every swipe of your Dis-Chem or Dis-Chem Baby City benefit card supports initiatives that change lives across South Africa every single day. Dis-Chem Foundation, caring for the community. Every swipe counts.
Hi, I'm Dion Free. Winning requires audacity. That's why I joined African Bank and opened a 60-month fixed-term investment account. I'm scoring 12.8% interest at expiry on my investment. How cool is that? You too can join the bank that backs you to grow your money. Pop into a branch near you or visit africanbank.co.za. African Bank. Audacity to believe. African Bank is a licensed financial services and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Your workday calls for more performance, more doing the impossible, more challenge accepted. Your weekends demand more excitement, more detours, more limitless living. And the new GWM P300 LS is where it all comes together. Bring it on in the new P300 LS with a 2.4 turbo diesel and 12.3-inch touchscreen from only $5,999 per month. Visit gwm.co.za for T's and C's and to book a test drive. GWM, go with more. Brought to you by GWM Finance, a division of Westbank and authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
This is EWN.
Renowned politics journalist Tidi Madia passes away at 42, and Turkish groom accidentally killed by relative on wedding day. Good afternoon, I'm Khomoto Modise. We begin with some difficult news from the EWN and Prime Media family. Renowned political journalist and associate politics editor at EWN, Tidi Madia, has passed away at the age of 42. In a statement, Madia's family confirmed her passing, saying she died this morning in hospital after a short illness. Madia was known for her robust and unapologetic pursuit for truth as a journalism powerhouse. She'll be sorely missed by family, friends and colleagues. Robalaka Khoto, Matsidiso. Former ANC spokesperson Bule Mabi is approaching the Gauteng High Court seeking to challenge the Special Investigating Unit's forensic report on his alleged fraudulent activities. The SIU investigated a 27 million rand tender awarded to Mabi's Enviromobi company in 2017 to provide the city of Ekurhuleni with 200 waste collection vehicles. It found the awarding of the contract was irregular and Mabi's company had misrepresented some facts while bidding for the tender. Mabi, along 6 co-accused, appeared in the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court today, facing several charges including fraud and money laundering. Alfara Mushwana was there.
Last year, the SIU obtained a preservation order against former ANC spokesperson Bule Mabi's assets after concluding its investigation into his alleged irregular 27 million rand tender. Mabi says after reviewing the docket, he believes there are sufficient grounds to challenge the SIU's findings, which resulted in his arrest last year.
The lawyers handling the case are dealing with the submissions and everything. I wouldn't want to get into the theater of what has happened and has not happened legally. Otherwise, I would not have had to appoint a legal team.
Mabi has also made representations to have his fraud and corruption charges withdrawn. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News in Palm Ridge.
Despite the United States slapping South Africa with 30% trade tariffs, International Relations Minister Ronald Lamola says the relationship between the two countries remains resilient. This afternoon, Lamola announced that a U.S. Congress staff delegation will be hosted in South Africa this week. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
Minister Ronald Lamola says government continues to hold various strategic meetings both on political and government levels with the United States. This includes a recent meeting he had with the U.S. Charge d'Affaires, David Green, while Deputy Minister Alvin Boertes held a video conference with the U.S. Deputy Secretary of State, Christopher Landau, to discuss trade and geopolitical issues. On Saturday, President Cyril Ramaphosa spoke to U.S. President Donald Trump over the phone. Lamola says the country's laws are also being explained in these interactions.
On domestic matters ranging from broad-based black economic empowerment, the Expropriation Act, we continue to reiterate that these are matters which are firmly within the grasp of the South African people and its sovereignty.
Lamola says official crime statistics do not bear out the false claims made in the U.S. Human Rights Report 2024 that farm-related violence is directed towards a single race group only. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
A state witness in the Lusikisiki mass murder case has told the court that accused number 1, Mzukisi Ndamase, tried recruiting him to kill another witness on his behalf. The witness, who's been identified as a neighbor to Ndamase, testified in the mass murder trial sitting in the Mthatha High Court in Lusikisiki today. He says the accused called him while in prison, where he's serving a life imprisonment for murder. According to the state, Ndamase is the mastermind behind the killing of the 18 victims in Ngobozana village in the Eastern Cape in September last year. Nhlanhla Mabaso is in court.
The first person to testify in this mass murder trial today told the court that accused one Mzukisi Ndamase called him while serving time in the Mthatha prison. He testified that this was back in 2021 after his brother was killed and that Ndamase was the one who told him who the alleged killers were. The witness also told the court that his deceased brother worked for Ndamase, although he did not reveal details on the kind of work he did. He told the court that Ndamase then tried recruiting him to kill a witness for him. During cross-examination, Ndamase denied having sent the witness to kill anyone. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape.
And in Turkey, a relative has accidentally killed a groom on his wedding day. Turkish media is reporting that the groom was hit by a celebratory gunfire after his wedding in the north of the country. The 23-year-old was allegedly being escorted home after the ceremony and was wounded at the hands of his wife's female relative. The 47-year-old woman has been detained by security forces and 2 unlicensed firearms have been found in her garden. Firing into the air is common as a celebration in parts of Turkey and has on many occasions led to deaths and injuries. Gold is trading at $3,383.43 an ounce. The rand's at 17.76 to the dollar, 23.87 to the pound, and 20.58 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $67.22 a barrel.
We're still dealing with that multi-vehicle accident scene in the Lenasia area on the Golden Highway. This is near Nirvana Drive, causing heavy delays. Devland Roadworks still slowing down traffic on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue, and in Kempton Park, bumper-to-bumper traffic on Pretoria Road between CR Swart and Plain Road.
A partly cloudy Thursday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg and Pretoria start at a low of 15, peaking at highs of 27 and 28. Vereeniging, a low of 13 and a high of 29. The top story in EWN this hour. It's a sad day in the EWN newsroom and Prime Media as renowned political journalist and associate politics editor Tidi Madia has passed away at the age of 42.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
on 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7:02 drive, 9 minutes past 4 as we struggle to find words on this incredibly difficult day right here at 7:02 and across the Prime Media family. Thank you to all of you who are starting to find words for us, including Advocate Machizo, who said this and puts it so simply but perfectly. There was no politics without Tidi. May her precious soul rest in perfect peace. She has run a race and may God be with her family. And this one from Togozile. Oh no, this can't be true. A sentiment that so many others have shared using different words. May God be with all the 702 landers and the family. She was very fabulous and bubbly. Indeed she was. Togozile concludes, may her soul rest in eternal peace and may the family find solace and strength in the Almighty God. As perhaps you've gathered, we're going to spend the rest of 702 Drive and much of the programming on the station coming to terms with the grievous loss for the 702 family, for Tidi Madia's family and those who loved her and knew her for longest, and then of course for all of you who clearly have much to say on this. So we'll keep playing your voice notes. If you want to call and you want to chat, because maybe that's easier than trying to put something into the format of a WhatsApp, we're open, the lines are ready, and we're keen to hear your thoughts. Call us on 011 883 0702. Matsidiso Madia, a real giant amongst us here at 702. Join us as we celebrate her life and mourn her loss.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
And the John and the 702 family. For me, also just a few words from my side. First of all, condolences to the family, the Madia family at large. I'm feeling the pain that everybody else in the family is feeling, because Tidi was a sister to me. As an avid 702 listener, I could never actually miss Tidi's interview. And the best last one she did for me was when she went to Washington and she got interviewed there in America, and how well she represented us as the 702 family. May her soul continuously rest in peace.
Good afternoon, John. My deepest and sincerest condolences to her Tidi's family, colleagues, South Africa. We're just so heartbroken. Oh, Tidi, may your soul rest in peace.
Oh no, Tate John, oh please. I was thinking about her today to say she'll stand in for Clement. I can't believe it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh no, please tell me I'm dreaming. Oh no. Oh guys, please.
Hi, 702. 702 is Manford from Midrand. I don't believe this. I really don't believe this. I thought maybe it was a joke. Really? Yes. Tidi Madia, please. May her soul rest in peace. No. I really, even now it's like I'm dreaming. Really? That's bad.
Yeah, and our condolences as we extend them, as I said, to her immediate family, those who've known her longest, to her close colleagues, particularly at EWN, but across the Prime Media family. And clearly those condolences must extend to all of you, because this, as you're making so abundantly and in some cases painfully clear, a grievous loss for all of you. We'll continue with the tributes. We'll continue celebrating a remarkable life cut all too short in a moment. But first, let's just remind you of what's happening in the traffic.
EWN Traffic.
At 14 minutes past 4, this Eyewitness News traffic is brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702. Karabo Chale, Lenasia, still a problem.
Yes, we're still dealing with that multi-vehicle accident in the Lenasia area on the Golden Highway. This is at Nirvana Drive. Heavy delays through there. In Devlin, roadworks also slowing down traffic on the Golden Highway from the N1 all the way to Union Avenue. In Ekurhuleni, Edenvale, traffic pressure on the R124 westbound. This is from Edenvale Road to the Kilulis interchange. Leaving Sandton, heading towards Midrand, there's slow-moving traffic. M1 North from Ethel Oaklands to the Patlu interchange. Also traveling towards Boysens in the Joburg CBD, traffic heavily backed up on the M1 South between Killarney Bends and the double-decker section. In Pretoria, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is on Paul Kruger between Fred Nicholson and Eskiam Pahlele. Also, slow-moving traffic in the Irene area. This is approaching the intersection of Nelmay Pierce Drive and Main Road. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like the lady on her way to work, listening to a love song on the radio. She's recreating the music video in her mind with herself as the leading lady. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a concert on the move. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Every day I'm hustling. It's our reality as business owners. And it's good to know that there's someone out there who takes care of the business that makes the business. Gotta love My Way Business Insurance. Saving big on premiums with 24/7 emergency services, plus My Business Assist with marketing, legal, and labor advice services.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
Hey, no longer feeling like the man you used to be? The man who introduces himself and people say, I know.
The fact is, 95% of men with low testosterone go untreated.
Vitamin High Performance Supplements for men helps recharge energy, regain lean muscle, and reload performance. Available at all good pharmacies and vitalamin.co.za. Vitalamin. Don't get older. Get better.
For over 200,000 businesses, Yoko has been there, backing the brave, simplifying payments with our legendary Little Blue Card Machine. We've built a legacy of making businesses run smarter. Now, meet the next generation of smart. Yoko Counter. It's the smartest till you'll ever own. Your all-in-one hub for seamless payments, crystal clear recons, effortless stock control, and efficient staff management. Yoko Counter. Level up at yoko.com.
Two iconic South African acts, one unforgettable stage. Jeremy Loops and Ladysmith Black Mambazo present Echoes Between Us. Live at the Teatro at Monte Casino on 19 and 20 September. Experience this once-in-a-lifetime collaboration of rhythm, harmony, and heritage with these exclusive shows. Tickets on sale now from Web Tickets. Proudly supported by 702 and 947.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Well, as we reflect on the tragic news of the passing of our political giant, I can't think of any other phrase to use for Tidi Madia, our colleague who passed away this morning. Many of your messages are coming in, and I'm just jotting down various phrases that have encapsulated what so many people felt about there. I'll read as many of the messages as I can. Tinny describes her as a humble, incredible journalist, a good example to the young, upcoming generation. And then someone else just refers to her as the mighty Tidi, which seems to, again, sum it up so wonderfully well in 3 words. But let's talk now to family spokesperson and, crucially and importantly in this conversation, a former colleague, a close one of Tidi Madia, Mahlatse. Welcome to 702 Drive under these very, very difficult circumstances. And first and foremost, my condolences to you on this terrible loss.
Thank you very much, John. We really appreciate the love that has been pouring through since the announcement has been made public. We are feeling, and the family is feeling, the love of South Africans.
Tell me, I'm sure if I were to ask you for memories of Tidi, they would pour out. But is there one that for you, before we talk a little bit about her family, one that for you really stands out and sums this remarkable journalist up?
You know, when you have to reflect on a person in moments like this, you have to look at where Tidi started. As we were talking about how it was a career that started in the EWN newsroom, and 20 years later, you cannot tell the South African story without Tidi's perception of it.
Yes.
It's very difficult for me to choose a moment, but I have always told her that I was always in awe of the person that she was, her love, her deep love for this country. Tidi would wake up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. to do the job, and she believed that the job had to be done, and that job was to tell the story of South Africa. And she did it from deep love. She did it from deep compassion, But also, more importantly, I think I've always been impressed by her mind, her questioning mind, and the perspective that she would have on any development in South Africa. I personally always remember her for the friend that she became. We met through news as journalists.
Yes.
But over the past 10 years, she is one of my closest friends. And even amidst all the work that she needed to do, she was always available to be a friend.
Well, it's an extraordinary picture you paint, Mahlatsi. The question, how are the family doing, is, of course, in many ways a redundant one. So let me put it this way. What do they want us all to be thinking about and saying as they themselves try to process such a profound loss? Because I'm certain they're looking inwards, but very mindful as well that they have given such a huge gift to the nation in giving us Tidi.
You know, I want to share the story. When we were talking today as we gathered as a family, all of us are worried about her nieces and nephews because Tidi was the perfect aunt. She was the aunt who knew which gift to get. She was the aunt that the kids knew to go to discuss any of the things that they were facing. She was the aunt that would give the most warmest of hugs. And for the family right now, that is the Tidi, or just trying to get to the news, that is, how do we carry especially the little ones in this really tragic moment? And just to remind us that, you know, this gift to South African was also a gift to a family, and also, you know, very much the connector also in the family. I think for the family as well is to I think allow for the mourning, but also hopefully in it celebrate the love Tidi had for this country and the dedication and the time and the effort she put. I always say Tidi was part of a generation of taking South Africa on a different path, and she played that role with so much commitment, and often maybe that's extra time that she could have spent with her family. But they also understood that this is what moved Tidi. This is what gave Tidi purpose. And she loved doing the work. And I hope that we are able to celebrate this remarkable person. And for me, I know it's too soon. It's, you know, how do we celebrate what she has given us and continue to do so past the coming days.
And just a last thought from you, Mahlatsi, as I ask for your reflection on something I'm about to say. While I've been thinking about this, the phrase that comes to me about Tidi is she always had a twinkle in her eye. And you can't, it sounds ridiculous to say you can hear a twinkle in the eye on radio, but in fact, I felt with Tidi you could, because even though she would be tackling serious topics with absolute intentionality with very, very serious people, you always felt that at some point she and the person she was interviewing might actually have a little laugh together. I thought that was a remarkable gift because it enabled her to get into tough stuff in such a wide range of ways, other than banging on the front door. But I wonder if that sounds true for you as well.
I absolutely agree with you, John. And I think we can also say that in many of the conversations and the difficult conversations, that booming laughter would also come through.
Yes.
And I think also, you know, she could be sitting down with one of the most senior politicians in South Africa, asking them very, very difficult questions. But at the end of that conversation, the people understood that she was doing the job and she was doing it right. And she was often even the first person that those politicians would actually call when there's been further development and things that have impacted their lives. I mean, I just think about the Ace Magashule and when he was suspended by the ANC. And amidst all of that, Tidi was one of the first person that he actually called. And I mean, if you think about it, Tidi was part of telling the stories around Ace Magashule. And he always, you know, even when the conversations were difficult, I think all of them understood that Tidi did her work and she did it with integrity. I mean, I've been receiving calls from leaders of different political parties, and more than anything, they are just shocked at the loss and also a personal loss. I think I've been shocked that in the past hour or so, it's the personal loss that even the most senior politicians in South Africa are actually expressing. I can tell you about Tidi's phone. Tidi's WhatsApps would light up at every second, and you would be shocked about by the people who were actually contacting her, people that she had just written perhaps what could be the most devastating stories for their careers, but they would still be able to call Tidi and they would still have a conversation. I think that booming laughter, and you talk about that twinkle in her eye, that is who Tidi was.
Yeah. You know, just a final thought, Mahlatsi, before once again we let you go to the important work that you're doing in trying to help the family through this. But, you know, I've always said in journalism, the most important thing is to be respected before you wish to be loved. Tidi, in a most remarkable way, has in a career that had so much more to give but has already given so much. She managed to achieve both, which really is a quite extraordinary measure of her life.
You know, John, I'll start with the journalism family because Tidi, out on a story, any journalist wanted to be close to her. She expressed care. She expressed concern. She would pick up the phone to call a journalist to extend a lending ear, to lend an ear or to support them in any way. The young political journalists at EWN, I think they probably also found in her so much more. I just got a call from another journalist who said, you know, I had just met Tidi at a story. I was new. I didn't know what's going on. She was the person who saw me. She had this ability to see people and actually also extend herself to actually support other people. And I think that is quite extraordinary for any human, and especially a young person as Tidi. You know, she would be in the middle of a breaking story, working very hard, and she would call me and say, you know, there is this journalist, I want to call them and say this to them. Can I? How should I broach it? And I'll be like, Tidi, where are you finding the time? And she would say, my heart says I must actually reach out to her, and that is who Tidi is. You know, I heard Nisa talking about the incident at the Oval Office. Tidi called me in the middle of the night, and she's like, I just came from a very bizarre interview, and I'm not sure how it's going to land. And she was worried, right? And I said to her, send me the link, let me watch it. And I watched it, and I said, Tidi, but this is journalism. That you were questioning a fellow journalist. You were doing what journalism is about. And she was so worried about, you know, whether she had done the right thing. But I always had to remind her that, Tidi, but of all people, doing the right thing is never something, or rather not doing the right thing is not something I would ever associate with you.
Well, Mahlatsi, our deepest condolences and all the love from the 702 family, of which you were such a significant part for so many years. Please pass on everything. We will, of course, be engaging directly with the family, but for now, I'm sure they have a sense of the immense volume of love out there, but please confirm that for us. Mahlatsi Mahlase, family spokesperson and a former colleague here. So when she talks about Tidi, she talks about someone who, as she described, a highly valued and respected colleague, but also one of her closest friends. Difficult times. It's 29 minutes past 4.
EWN Business.
Well, of course, before we get into business, Stephen Curtis, a time of great sadness for you and perhaps a thought that you would like to share before picking up.
John, thank you. You know, I one of my memories of Tidi, and there are many, is 2012. And you remember a year that was dominated by conferences. And her and I spent about 10 days together covering a South African Communist Party conference in Richards Bay. And there was nothing else to do but talk politics. And I will never forget one of the great strengths of Tidi was how fiercely and with determination, how interested she was in it. She lived and breathed it. And I think that's what you heard in her reporting. It was that determination. It's not just that she wanted to get an answer or she wanted to know something. She wanted to know more. And she wanted to know more. Yeah, she wanted to know it all. She wanted to completely be subsumed. I have this idea of her sort of, jumping into a kind of sea of politics. That would be Tidi for me. And absolutely passionately committed to it. I didn't have late night conversations with her as Mahlatsi did. But you can tell just from what Mahlatsi was saying about how she lived and breathed this. It's a massive loss to us and to her family, and to 702 and to Prime Media and to EWN. But it's also a big loss in so many ways, and I think it'll be some time before we kind of understand and assess all of that, John.
Stephen, thank you. Over to you to just remind us of what's happened on the market.
I mean, if it sort of still matters, and I suppose it does, the JSE All Share is down 0.54% at 101,881 points. Financials are down 0.09%. Industrials are down 0.2%. And resources are down 1%. There's quite a lot of corporate news today. So shares in the education company Curro, they're up over 50%. There is an offer for the company from the Yanni Moulton Foundation. The foundation wants to turn the group into a non-profit organization that will provide education for children around the country. As I understand it, Curro is listed on the JSE, so they have to make the offer in public. Curro also confirming its revenue is up 4.7% in the financial year to the end of June, but the total number of learners was down slightly. Shares in Bidcorp down 3% on the day. It's a sort of global food and services group. Their headline earnings per share were up by 6.9%. Does say that many markets are still battling at the moment. And then Blue Label Telecoms, rare to see them in the red line, John. They're down 14%. They've reported a resilient performance for the financial year. Their core headline earnings went from 680 million rand to over 4 billion rand. They're preparing to spin off a Cell C, so that's going to be a big part of all of this. And then also we see that in the US, the main indices are opening flat. Investors there are waiting for results from NVIDIA at the moment. And so that's really where people are, and that's having an impact on the NASDAQ in particular. But the Dow Jones is up 0.23%. The NASDAQ is down 0.08%. And then the S&P 500 is up 0.07%. The gold price at the moment is $3,377.06 an ounce. Platinum, $1,344.53. Brent crude, $67.02 a barrel. And the rand to the dollar, 17.76 to the euro, 20.57 to the British pound, 23.89. Stephen Crotus, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. 27 minutes to 5. Let's go back to the news desk and Khomotso Modise.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. A formidable journalist who always fought for the truth. Those are just some of the words used to describe broadcaster Tidi Madia, who passed away this morning. Her family has confirmed that Madia passed away in hospital at the age of 42 following a short illness. She was known for her robust and unapologetic pursuit for truth as a journalism powerhouse. She'll be sorely missed by family, friends and colleagues. EWN Editor-in-Chief Nisa Ali says that Tidi was the jewel in EWN's crown.
The fierce politics reporter was also the fierce editor. She was the person who absolutely led by example. The ship would not, nobody would be left abandoned on ship. She would stay till the end. As her friend, she gave me a run for my money. She would motivate, justify, come and pitch for things that her team needed, for stories that she wanted to do.
The NSFAS board has approved 6 key projects to restore governance and address long-standing administrative challenges within the organisation. During a media briefing in Pretoria today, board chairperson Karen Stunner says the projects, including a revised operating model and a loan management strategy. The session also addressed challenges linked to the 2025 academic year, providing updates on student applications, allowances and ICT systems. W. Lambata reports.
Earlier this month, newly appointed Higher Education Minister Tidi Madia made NSFAS his top priority, promising to stabilize the troubled scheme. He added a clear framework would be established within 3 months, led by a dedicated task team. Today, board chairperson Karen Stander confirmed that 6 turnaround projects have now been approved to drive this process forward. These include organizational design and realignment, a loan management strategy, sustainable funding framework, a transitional framework for student accommodation, ICT assessment and digital transformation, and a revised operating model. Board chairperson Karen Stander.
We are firmly committed to dedicating our resources to the critical priorities, with the conviction that such focus will enable NSFAS to emerge as a transformative force for the good of South Africa.
She added that the projects are aimed at addressing governance failures, reputational damage, and delivery backlogs. Jabuli Limbata, Eyewitness News.
Acting Police Minister Firoz Kachalia has warned gangs operating in the Western Cape to stop shooting and committing crime. Kachalia today addressed Interpol top brass and dignitaries from across Africa and abroad on the opening of the 27th Interpol African Regional Conference. The conference is being held at the Century City Conference Centre from today until Friday. Carlo Peterson is there.
Acting Police Minister Firoz Kachalia says he has requested a briefing from National Police Commissioner Fani Masimola about what the SAPS is doing to curb gang violence in the Western Cape. Kachalia says he made the request after being contacted by the Muslim Judicial Council and Anglican Archbishop Thabo Makgoba about escalating gang violence in Cape Town. The acting minister says he is also aware of reports related to the Western Cape Anti-Gang Unit lacking resources. Kachalia says he will be meeting with various stakeholders to discuss the situation on Monday. Kachalia confirmed he will be back in Cape Town in the second week of September to address the ongoing gang violence in the province. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News at Century City Convention Centre.
And Nigeria has announced a 6-month ban on the export of raw shea nuts from which many beauty creams are made. The move is aimed at making the trade more lucrative as Nigeria is losing out on not producing much shea butter locally. The country produces nearly 40% of the world's annual crop, but it only accounts for 1% of the global market. The butter is also used in the food industry in the production of some sweets, chocolate and ice creams, and in pharmaceuticals too. A partly cloudy Thursday in store for Gauteng, lows of between 13 and 15 degrees and highs of between 27 and 29.
Irene, traffic pressure approaching the intersection of Nalmepius Drive and Main Road. If you're leaving the Pretoria CBD, traffic congested on Steve Biko Street between Francis Bard and Flower Street, and in the Sandton area heading towards Midrand, there's slow-moving traffic. M1 North from Ethel Oaklands all the way to the Bethlehem interchange.
The top story in EWN this hour, renowned broadcast journalist Tidi Madia has been described as a formidable journalist who always fought for the truth.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
What do South Africans who are looking to add value do tomorrow?
Support proudly South African.
Does that mean labor, manufacturing?
Across.
No.
I have nothing against anybody else's country. I just love mine. The second, when one of us fails, give grace and criticize in private so you help the other person grows. And then the third, stop seeing your politicians as rock stars. They are here to do the job for you. You are not there to ululate for them when they arrive at the stadium.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
One brave decision made today can lead to a brand new tomorrow. This Thursday on 702 Drive with me, John Perlman, we'll hear how the courage of one teenager met the compassion of the right people and made the seemingly impossible possible. Catch this inspiring conversation made possible by the Dis-Chem Foundation Thursday on 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Remember, every swipe of your Dis-Chem or Dis-Chem Baby City benefit card supports initiatives that change lives across South Africa. Dis-Chem Foundation, caring for the community. Every swipe counts.
Welcome to the brand new days.
Sail the world with Norwegian Cruise Line, with more to see, more to do, and more to enjoy. Plus, upgrade your holiday with NCL's More at Sea for premium beverages, specialty dining, and much more. Think international cruising. Think NCL. For the best deals available, visit ncl.com or contact your travel agent. Restrictions apply.
Welcome to the brand new days.
Bar brings you super savings. Get 2 kg Tastic long grain, parboiled, brown or soft absorbing rice assorted for $34.99. Save 10 Rand with Spar Rewards, or 2 litre Spar sunflower or canola oil for $69.99 with Spar Rewards. Plus, you could win your share of 6 million Rand in instant cash. Price is valid until 7 September 2025 while stocks last. T's and C's apply.
Ever driven 6 hours to get to a place that should have taken 1? Skip the detour with Sem Air, a proudly South African full-service airline, connecting you to 16 top destinations, whether it be for business or a break. Baggage included. Onboard snacks. Always. Comfort and service. Count on it. Because when your time matters, your airline should too. Book now at semair.co.za. Sem Air. More from your airline.
The Festival of Motoring, powered by Westbank, brings the spirit of Ubuntu to the Kyalami Grand Prix circuit from the 29th to the 31st of August. Experience thrilling track drives, 4x4 adventures, drifting, supercar hot laps, and F1 demos. Get your tickets on Howler and use the promo code RADIO for a special discount. The Festival of Motoring, the power of new.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by the Mpumalanga Tourism and Parks Agency. Mpumalanga, the place of the rising sun. Karabochale.
Yes, John. Well, at this stage, let me start in the city of Tshwane, where there's bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is heading towards Centurion. This is on the N1 northbound between Boerta Avenue and Atterbury Road. There's also slow-moving traffic in the Irene area. This is approaching the intersection of Nelmapiers Drive and Main Road, leaving the Pretoria CBD. There's also congestion on Steve Biko Drive between Francis Bard and Flower Street in the south, Joburg. There's slow-moving traffic. This is due to roadworks in Devland on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue. Edenvale traffic pressure on the R124 westbound. That's heading into Bedford View between Edenvale Road and the Giluli's interchange. Sandton also heading towards Midrand. Expect some delays on the M1 northbound from Ethel Oaklands all the way to the Batlu interchange. And finally, if you're leaving the Joburg CBD, heading towards Boysens, traffic heavily backed up on the M1 south from the Killarney Bends all the way to the double-decker section. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Explore the wonders of Mpumalanga. Discover the ultimate wildlife experience that brings you closer to nature. Get your adrenaline rush with endless adventure activities. Explore breathtaking 4x4 routes or hike the Blader River Canyon, the third largest in the world. Unwind with spectacular landscapes and majestic waterfalls. Make Mpumalanga your destination of choice. Mpumalanga, embrace the unknown, live the adventure. This message is brought to you by the Mpumalanga Tourism and Parks Agency. Mpumalanga, the place of the rising sun. Visit mpumalanga.com for more information.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hey, Uncle John, Alani here from the Val. My heart goes out to Tidi's family, 702 team, the listeners. We shocked. We are in shock. What a vibrant personality. Someone that we will miss in every session that Tidi was participating in, politicking. Uncle John, it's a difficult afternoon. May God be with everyone there in the studio and the 702 team. Thanks, Tom.
702 listeners with tears in my eyes. My condolences to Tidi and her family. That was such a beautiful tribute. Wow. I'm actually crying. Rest in peace, Tidi. I'm gonna miss your voice, that laughter, the way you analyzed everything. You know, you were the greatest political journalist ever. Rest in peace, Tidi.
Good afternoon, John and the 702 landers. Wow, Dr. John, I'm lost for words. I'm hurt. I cannot begin to fathom what the family is going through, what the country is going to go through. Tidi cared a lot about South Africa, as she was commonly known as Tidi in 702 land. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, our Tidi loved the country, and very clearly the country loved Tidi Madia as well. Again, a reference to a wonderful laugh, and I couldn't help smiling when we were talking a little bit earlier to Mahlase, a dear friend, speaking on behalf of the family and a former colleague of ours at 702, and she talked about that laugh. And I sit on almost the opposite side of a large floor, and I could hear Tidi's laugh. And it was a thing of great comfort in many ways, particularly when the political pot was boiling, fiercely saying, oh, well, Tidi's in the house. Tidi is on the story. We will get an explanation. And Joy sends me this on WhatsApp. And thank you, Joy, one of our leading people in journalism as well. Joy Summers says this: I knew if I had missed a political story, I just had to listen to her to catch up. Indeed. A wonderful point, Joy. And I can't tell you how important that was for all of us on the 702 Drive team, because I cannot count how many times I said, well, what is Tidi saying about that? Joy concludes by saying this: she had the trust of rogues and princes. A wonderful way to put it. What a presence. She will be sorely missed. What a tragic loss. Lulama is calling us from Winchester Hills. Lulama, good afternoon to you, and condolences, because this is your loss as well, I'm sure.
Indeed, and Dr. John, it is a sad day indeed to the whole Talk Radio 702 and the international world at large. So when I heard the first breaking news on Talk Radio 702 on your show, obviously, for a moment I was in denial, and I was hoping for the first time, where I thought, oh, AI and all this artificial intelligence. I was hoping that it wasn't true, that you were reporting on you've just picked up something that you said about Tidi, we've got it wrong. And then I just, when it sunk in that, it is true, I was immediately reminded of a phrase when we say, someone is not a dying type, as if everyone, as if there are people that are dying.
But I know exactly what you mean.
Right, and often that is said when someone has passed on, because it is indicative of their work, of what they stood for and their legacy, and then you realize, geez, this is just a soul that should, and their presence just is so phenomenal. And Tidi was and is, it feels so wrong to say was, because her spirit will live on among us, and also because she was so respectful of her craft, meaning she was respectful, much like everybody has said, of everybody that crossed her path. We will miss her, and as we're missing her already. Sincere condolences to her family at large.
And to you, Lulama, again, and thanks for your wonderful words. I know in the depths of the pain that so many people are feeling, it's hard to imagine that this offers any kind of substantial or decisive kind of comfort. But I think the layers of feeling and love that we're getting just a small sense of on 702 Drive this afternoon will eventually offer some comfort. But the pain at the moment, we all have to say, is very deep indeed. Political parties would have known Tidi well. They would have always, I think, respected her work, even if they didn't always like what she had to say. And I think the measure of the excellence of her work was that probably everybody respected her. Many people liked her. And a lot of people at one time or another probably didn't like what she had to say at all. That never stopped them talking to her because they knew that it mattered. Willie Okamp is calling us. He is national spokesperson for the DA. Mr. Okamp, very good afternoon to you. And again, as I'm doing, condolences to you, because I sense you have your own sense of loss, but you call in on behalf of the DA. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John, and thank you very much for the opportunity. I was so shocked when I came to hear of Tidi's passing. I sat still in my chair and just took a few breaths for a moment. John, when I became the DA's national spokesperson, the very first journalist that did an interview with me was Tidi. And I'll never forget that. Her and myself had discussions about that afterwards. I had a huge amount of respect for her. The one thing that you knew when you entered into an interview with Cheetah is that you must have your facts straight.
Yes.
She really, she distinguished herself through a fearless reporting and incisive questioning of those in power. And over time, we really built a relationship of trust. Tidi could phone me to say, Willie, I heard something. Can you give me some information? And that was off the record, and I assisted her, and I really had such a huge amount of respect for her. She will be dearly missed, and my condolences to her and to her family and her close friends. People that loved her, but I think to an industry that will surely miss the integrity and the absolute good journalist that Tidi was.
Willie Okamp, many thanks, DA National Spokesperson. Indeed, she leaves behind, on the one hand, a huge legacy, and by the way, a living one, because I think points made by both Mahlase and by Nisa Ali as we embarked on this very sad part of the 702 day today was about what she's taught other people. And by the way, many of those journalists don't even work in as part of Prime Media or 702 at all. Well, Tidi had a huge reputation in South Africa, but as they discovered in the United States, the mighty Tidi from time to time was known to travel to other parts of the world.
Oh, Ntate Johnny, I am shocked. I was even shaking. How Tidi was, she was the best in the game. She bowed out in style after mopping the floor with those ill-informed and arrogant Americans. That one interview that she did, she will always be remembered, Kayona. Robale handle Tidi. Re a rata, re tla dula ro rata, re tla dula ro hopola. R.I.P. my sister. Robert Manarie from Pirin, Soweto.
Wonderful words. Thank you, Robert. And a number of you are reflecting on Tidi flying the South African flag, but really, arguably, all she was doing, I'm sure she would have said, is her job. But she certainly made her presence felt when President Cyril Ramaphosa and the delegation went to the White House. Linda had this to say: I'm deeply, deeply saddened to hear of the passing of Tidi. I will never forget watching the Oval Office fracas and hearing Tidi's voice rising over the noise. Undaunted by those I know would have preferred she be silenced. What a legend. Linda says, what a loss. My condolences to her family, friends and colleagues. And Cecil reflects on the same moment in our journalism history and says she was indeed formidable. Her interviews on American TV dismantling white genocide claims were typical of her. Robust and unflinching, as you guys say, a dispassionate political journalist and a patriot. Such devastating news. Well, let's take a listen and fondly remember, while we sadly mourn, Tidi Madia and her formidable performance on Fox TV.
Welcome to the program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Were you surprised when you saw that?
No, not necessarily. I was amused by the latest gimmick, for sure, but surprised not so much. I think the South African delegation, South African journalists have been talking about it. We knew the president would walk into some sort of trap. It's not surprising. The invite was there. The desire for the conversation to open up the channels between the USA and South Africa are there. South Africa's been trying, by all means, to try and open up the doors again. And so, no one was surprised.
Okay.
Did we expect the lights to be turned off and a visual illustration? No, not that far.
That is the new reality with Donald Trump. The issue here, I think, is an important one about what is actually happening in South Africa. Is it true that white farmers are being killed in South Africa?
It's an interesting way that you've asked that question. I don't think the issue is what's happening in South Africa. I think the issue is what's being peddled about what's happening in South Africa. If you watch today's engagement, let me get to the point first. If you watch that entire engagement, the recognition, the painful recognition, the startling truth of crime in South Africa, violent crime, was actually uttered by everybody there from South Africa. Is it targeted towards a specific group? Is it an ethnic cleansing? That's the question, right? Based on what's been said about South Africa the world over, at least people are allowed to Donald Trump and Elon Musk. That's not a fact.
Okay, so we don't deny that there's a lot of violent crime in South Africa, right?
Across
Seven times the murder rate.
Across the board.
Okay, so the issue is whether or not, I guess, whites are being targeted disproportionately. Is that what you're taking issue with?
No, that would be the claim. The issue is that the claim is falsehood. White people are not being targeted, Leland. Nobody.
So when
crime is experienced by everybody, not just white people.
Was chanting, kill, kill, you have to kill to be part of a revolution, on and on. He was talking about killing blacks or killing whites?
Do you need the context of what that song is? Because you can't take out the context of what that is. That is actually important. It cannot be that he's giving an instruction when that's not the fact. I think we do need to take into consideration the context. What he's chanting is an anti-apartheid song that was sang by leaders in the lead up to apartheid. The back and forth...
Tidi Madia, I was going to say giving as good as she got, but giving way, way more in that interview with Fox News. If you haven't seen the whole thing, go online, Tidi Madia, Fox News. I think it'll come up. If we get a chance, I'll give you the full link a moment ago. But Tidi's career began a good while back. And as with so many other young aspirant journalists, there was the small matter of a job interview where you sit before someone who knows exactly what radio journalism talent looks like, and you've got to try and persuade them, hire me. Well, the person who is in that seat is someone you all know very, very well from her stellar career here at 702. Katie Katapodis, a very good afternoon to you. Condolences to you on the loss of somebody whose life was a very important part of your own. I want to ask you, when you first saw a much younger Tidi Madia in front of you saying, I think you need to have me on your team, what persuaded you that, yes, indeed, I did?
Hi, John. Thanks so much. Let me start off also by saying condolences to everybody who knew and loved Tidi, her EWN, her 702 family, the media fraternity at large. We are poorer without Tidi. And just listening to her voice now has really brought such a lump to my throat. I am in absolute shock and devastation. I can't believe that Tidi is no longer with us. But if I go back all of those years, I saw a bright, brilliant young woman who was determined to be on air. John, she started off at the 702 traffic desk, the Eyewitness News traffic desk. And at first she started off just shadowing, but she wanted to be on air. She was eager to work. She had such a profound understanding of media at a very young age.
Yes.
And there was that X factor. You know, we often talk as editors about that something, the something special, the something that really makes them stand out. Well, let me tell you, Tidi Madia had that. She stood out from the very, very beginning with me. And her career started off on the EWN traffic desk and ended on such a high. Just listening to that Fox interview, she was superb. What she did for politics in South Africa and political reporting specifically in South Africa was truly something else. Really, nobody wanted to move unless they heard what Tidi had to say.
And Katie, just finally, I mean, our profession comes sometimes justifiably under scrutiny and even criticism for the way in which we cover particularly the big political stories. A strong thread coming out about Tidi from everybody, whether they had an easy or rough time. Well, nobody had an easy time. But however the interview with her went, is that they thought she was unbelievably fair. How much of a contribution has that been to our profession, apart from the specific contribution she's made to this media group?
Oh, that's a huge contribution. So her integrity, her fairness, her sense of responsibility when reporting, I think that will be her legacy, John. She'll definitely leave her mark on our media landscape as somebody who really did a job well done. She understood what it meant to get right of reply. She understood nuance. She understood what it was to get to the bottom of a story. And just listening to her recently, she was standing in for Mandy Wiener just recently, and I had this overwhelming thought to say, my word, Tidi Madia, you are a superstar.
Thank you so much, Katie Catapodis, the person who interviewed a much younger Tidi Madia for a job all those years ago. We're delighted that she said, I think you should join our team. Boy, did that prove to be the right choice. 702 Drive.
Breathe in, insurance. Breathe out, pineapple. In, insurance. Breathe out, pineapple. Again. In, insurance. Out, pineapple. Again and again.
Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
Ready, jet, go! 2 fully paid trips to the Abu Dhabi Motor Racing Spectacular must be won in the thrilling new JetX competition exclusive to Hollywood Bets. An unforgettable experience awaits on one of the fastest circuits on the planet, with the world's top drivers battling for supremacy. To stand a chance to win, bet 10 Rand or more on JetX. 1 million Rand in cash is also up for grabs. Hollywood Bets. Fly higher with our multiplier. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Unleash your beauty at Dis-Chem's Beauty Fair, where color meets confidence. Going bold? Red lips and power brows say it all. Flirty and fun. Smoky eyes, glossy lips, and lashes for days. From effortless chic to full glam fabulous. Your perfect look starts here. Dis-Chem's Beauty Fair is on. Shop the hottest cosmetics, fragrances, and skincare at prices too good to resist. Don't miss out. Offers end 14 September.
This is EWN.
Tributes pour in for renowned politics journalist Tidi Madia, and the DA threatens no confidence vote against Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi. Good afternoon, I'm Khomoto Modise. Tributes are pouring in following the passing of renowned political journalist Tidi Madia. The EWN Associate Politics Editor died in hospital this morning following a short illness. Tidi spent much of her career holding politicians accountable and always chasing the truth. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi says Tidi was not only a journalist of exceptional caliber, but also a voice of reason and fairness. Action SA leader Herman Mashaba says although Madia's life was short, it was deeply impactful and meaningful. Echoing the tributes shared by political colleagues this afternoon, the African Congress for Transformation says Tidi dedicated her life to giving a voice to the voiceless. EWN Editor-in-Chief Nisa Ali takes a look at Madia's life.
Tidi passed away in hospital this morning after a short illness. She was the jewel in EWN's crown. She was a powerhouse. She was brave. She was the consummate professional who worked tirelessly in pursuit of the truth. She led by example, mentoring and training many young political journalists. She formed a formidable politics team, which she was so proud of, and delivered one exclusive after the next with absolute humility and professionalism. She constantly raised the bar for herself, juggling reporting and her editor responsibilities daily. Laughter and robust debate would always surround Tidi. Outside of her public persona, Tidi was fiercely loyal to her family and friends. Her no-holds-barred approach seeped into every aspect of her life. She worked hard and loved even harder. The sun shines differently without you today, Matsediso. Our thoughts, prayers, and support are with Tidi's father, her siblings, her nephews and nieces, aunts and uncles, cousins, and broader family.
That was EWN Editor-in-Chief Nisa Ali. NSFAS has responded to registration frustrations raised by students at tertiary level, explaining that it miscalculated its coffers and is subsequently 10.6 billion rand in the red, owing several institutions. Briefing members of the media today, the NSFAS board chairperson Karen Stunner outlined the scheme's oversight, saying they are inundated with applications, each one fully deserving of financial assistance. Stunner says they have approached government to assist with the shortfall.
Section 14.3 of the NSFAS Act explicitly prohibits overspending beyond the allocated budget, and we had to close the NSFAS registration portal. This has resulted in students who have been unable to register.
DA Gauteng leader Solim Msimanga has threatened to file a motion of no confidence against Premier Panyaza Lesufi. Msimanga addressed dozens of DA supporters outside Lesufi's office in Johannesburg this morning during an anti-crime campaign. The DA handed over a memorandum to Lesufi's office raising issues of concern around crime in the province and the lack of resources at police stations. Oren Singh reports.
DA Gauteng leader Solim Msimanga says Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi is not serious about fighting crime. Speaking outside Lesufi's office in Joburg CBD this morning, Msimanga threatened to file a motion of no confidence against Lesufi.
We are seeing more vehicles around this building here than you would have in certain police stations. So we are saying this cannot continue to happen. And therefore, if he's not willing to engage us, if he's not willing to listen, perhaps then it's time for him to go.
Special advisor to Lesufi, Mxolisi Kayea, says Msimanga is making empty threats on issues they've prioritized and addressed.
We have assisted extensively. If you look at the number of wardens that are around, including their vehicles, working with SAPs in police stations. They are not just working on their own. They are working in police stations.
The DA raised issues about a lack of vehicles at several police stations in the province, as well as holding cells. Aryan Singh, Eyewitness News.
An Alexandra Award councillor at Defo Raphadu has warned Johannesburg residents, saying those who've erected buildings on government infrastructure and are obstructing service delivery will have their structures collapsed. This comes after several homes were taken down by excavators at Extension 7 in the area for occupying space belonging to the municipality. 7 families were left in the lurch, with some saying they had no choice but to sleep in their cars. According to the city, their homes were built on power lines, water and sewage pipes, resulting in prolonged outages in the area. Raphadu says the move was not to disrupt people's lives, but to address matters of service delivery.
This could have pitted the community against community, and there could have been bloodshed around this issue. So we tried to find the middle ground. Unfortunately, not everybody will be pleased. We know Hore will be called to commissions. We are ready to stand by our words and fall on our swords that this country can't be turned into a banana republic.
Gold is trading at $3,343.55 an ounce. The rand's at 17.76 to the dollar, 23.90 to the pound, and 20.59 to the euro. Brent crude oil's at $67.22 a barrel.
Bumper-to-bumper traffic in the Centurion area on the N1 northbound between Botha Avenue and Atterbury. There's also slow-moving traffic leaving the Pretoria CBD on Steve Biko Street between Francis Bard and Flower Street. And in Irene, there's traffic pressure approaching the intersection of Nelmay Pierce Drive and Main Road.
A partly cloudy Thursday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg and Pretoria start at a low of 15, peaking at highs of 27 and 28. Vereeniging a low of 13 and a high of 29. The top story in EWN this hour. Tributes are pouring in following the passing of renowned political journalist Tidi Madia.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes past 5 on 702 Drive. Today we are celebrating the life and mourning the loss of a formidable journalist, a passionate South African, a larger-than-life person in our lives and yours.
That person who I often, if you pay attention, refer to as Ngwana Kokosara. I've consistently referred to him as Ngwana Kokosara. Julius Malema, who's the leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters. He's in studio. And I want to put it out there. I didn't invite you.
Yeah.
When I invite him, he doesn't come. He came knocking on his own, and I said, sure, let's have a conversation. Thank you for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you, Tidi, and thanks to the listeners.
Happy 12 years. The
Thank
EFF
you.
is a preteen now.
Yeah.
Let's start there, actually.
Tidi with her turn of phrase, the EFF is a preteen now. I spoke earlier about how you can hear a twinkle in the eye on radio, and I know that doesn't make any scientific sense, but there it was, right there. But boy, was there steel and laser focus underneath. Tidi Madia, if you have just joined us, a much beloved and much admired colleague here at 702, political editor at EWN. But that barely describes what she did in her life. It barely describes what she leaves behind, both the legacy and the massive gap that is being felt by so many of you. You are getting in touch, and we're enjoying and appreciating, thank you, your appreciation and admiration and love for Tidi, and please do keep that coming on 072-702-1702. And if you want to talk, that's what we're here for, 011-883-0702. This from Celeste. I loved Tidi Madia. She was a true professional on radio. I am devastated. Wishing you all and her loved ones my condolences. And to you, Celeste, thank you for that. And Leslie sums it up really well with this. Tidi improved public discourse with her intelligent, down-to-earth and fair approach to politics. I loved hearing her on the radio. Leslie says, no matter what she was doing, she really raised the bar for SA political commentators. A few more of your thoughts.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
So heartbreaking to actually hear her voice and remember that she is no more, you know. Oh my goodness, I'm so sad. Oh, she was one of my role models, and I always used to joke that Tidi Madia has my job. Oh my goodness, I hope to do so much in her honor. Man, oh Tidi, you have hurt me today. Rest in peace, my dear.
Oh my word, Ndata John, I am shook for days. I've just come out of a full day session, and only to learn that Tidi is no more. I am so hurt. I am so touched. Tidi was in the peak of her career. She was amazing. She was exceptional. I'm going to miss the days where I used to just watch her on YouTube, and she was just explosive and asking questions. Oh, she was so powerful to the point that she reminded me of Eusebius McKaiser. I'm hurt. Tidi, we will miss you. We will miss the impact that you have left, the legacy. You will be remembered for many, many years. Lerato.
Hi, John. I am so hurt. So hurt. Ooh, Tidi, rest in peace. Rest in peace, Mama. Rest in peace. I've got no words. I don't know what to say. I am so hurt. Maybe tomorrow I'll be able to talk, but today I am extremely hurt. Rest in peace. What an intelligent woman. Your life, it's not fair. Rest in peace, Mama. Makantu Soweto.
Yeah, Lerato, and thank you for all of those, and condolences to all of you as you try to come to terms with your own loss. But Lerato spoke of impact, and Tabi in a WhatsApp text sent, I think sums it up beautifully. We lost the voice of the voiceless. And Tidi did it in a particular way because, yes, she was a voice for people who felt they didn't get a chance to say they say, but she did it in a way that invited people in to, if not speak to us on the radio, but to carry their thoughts into other forums. And Tabi concludes, rest well, Tidi Madia, 14 minutes past 5.
EWN Traffic.
This Eyewitness News Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 7:02 at 14 minutes past 5. I suspect we're deep into it, and if we're in Irene, we are really deep into it. Karabo Chale.
Yeah, there's traffic pressure in that area approaching the intersection of Nelme Pierce Drive and Main, also leaving the Pretoria CBD. Traffic heavily congested on Steve Biko Street between Francis Bard and Flower Street, while in Centurion we still have bumper-to-bumper traffic, N1 North. Between Boerta Avenue and Atterbury in Ekurhuleni. Boksburg, traveling between Boksburg and Germiston, expect heavy delays on Main Reef Road. This is between Rondebold and Field Road, while in Edenvale, traveling towards Bedford View, traffic is a bit sluggish. R124 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Kilulis interchange. We still have those roadworks causing heavy delays in the Devland area, heading into Eldorado Park. That's the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue. And finally, in the Joburg CBD, traffic is heavily backed up. This is traveling towards Boysons on the M1 southbound from Killarney Bends all the way to the double-decker section. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Clever late excuse number 80. You ran out of petrol and had to push your car to a petrol station. Fortunately, with the OUTsurance pointsmen on the roads, you no longer have to come up with creative excuses for being late. The OUTsurance pointsmen, easing traffic congestion and getting you there quickly and safely since 2005. OUTsurance really means it when they say you always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, show them some love online using #PointsmenLove. OUTsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Can you share with us, TG, about the state of the party's finances? Because there have been issues around salaries that are not being paid at some point. Where are you now in terms of your finances? Have you managed to stabilize that?
I would prefer not to discuss the finances of the ANC because I don't think it is necessary. I thought I was also here to deal with the issues of this being a Women's Month.
But TG, you're the Treasurer General of the ANC. I wouldn't invite a senior leader like you to just talk about women's issues.
It's not minimizing, not to talk about other things. But all I can say is that we have worked very hard to stabilize the finances, and we are stable, and also we need to work even harder.
Clements Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
One brave decision made today can lead to a brand new tomorrow. This Thursday on 702 Drive with me, John Perlman, you'll hear how the courage of one teenager met the compassion of the right people and made the seemingly impossible possible. Catch this inspiring conversation made possible by the Dis-Chem Foundation Thursday on 702 Drive. Remember, every swipe of your Dis-Chem or Dis-Chem Baby City benefit card supports initiatives that change lives across South Africa. Dis-Chem Foundation, caring for the community. Every swipe counts.
Smart Steve from Momentum. Hello.
Stevie, my bro. It's me, Clinton Myers, the Minister of National Treasures.
Good afternoon, Mr. Minister. How can Momentum Insure help you?
You know, most Momentum car insurance protects the people better than a windbreaker in Cape Town.
That's true, Mr. Minister.
Listen, this no VAT economy is not helping with the cost of maintaining my Gusheshe, my tires, man.
So why don't you drive lacquer and earn lacquer with Momentum Insure's safety return?
Smart Steve! Now you are a national treasure.
Also, Momentum Insure rewards you with up to 30% cash back on your paid premiums, even if you claim.
Nee, my lighty. Is it true?
Stru's Bob, Mr. Clint Mayers. In this economy, this cash back will go a long way.
Lekker man, Steve Bobo.
Visit momentum.co.za to get a quote. Momentum Insure, keeping you safe on your journey to success. Momentum Insure is an authorized non-life insurer and FSP. Standard SMS rates and T's and C's apply. FSP 22789.
What if your till could think for you? Meet Yoko Counter, an all-in-one point-of-sale system that handles payments, real-time recons, and even tracks stock and staff. It's not just a brain saver, it's a time saver too. Yoko Counter, the smartest till you'll ever own. Upgrade your business at yoko.com.
The Checkers Hyper price drop is here. Save up to 40% on deals like Steakhouse Classic man-sized T-bone steak for 140 Rand per kilo. Save 20%. Coca-Cola Fanta Sprite or Stony 300ml bottles, any 24-pack for 139 Rand. Save 50 Rand. And Cadbury Assorted Mini Chocolate Bags, any 7 for only 299 Rand. Save 191 Rand. Deals valid until this Sunday. Only at Checkers Hyper.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Wonderful tributes coming in for Tidi Madia. This from Lolly. When one heard Tidi was going to report on a story, you sat upright, turned up the volume, and you listened. She was always so shy to do Clement's Adult Hour on Fridays. Lolly recalls that always put a smile on my face. And Amanda shares this. Rest well, Nwana wa Koko Sara. We thought you still had a long way to go and a lot to give to our country's political journalism. God's plan has ripped our hearts apart, but we continue to hold up the faith. Amanda concludes, rest well, Tidi. So many of you wanting to share your thoughts. Let's welcome to 702 Drive, Vincent Magwenya calling in from the presidency. Mr. Magwenya, as we accept your condolences, my condolences to you, because I'm sure you're feeling a loss of your own, but you would have had many, many dealings with Tidi. Any that particularly come to mind? Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, John, and good afternoon to your listeners. And once again, our condolences and those of the President to the 702 and EWN family, as well as to the Madia family. John, it's a feeling that is so difficult to describe. One is just out of words. You know, in our work, John, with particularly political editors and political reporters, after some time, you develop a sense of family. And what happens in a family? You fight, you are honest with each other, you call each other out, and at the end of it all, you admire and you respect each other. And that's the relationship a lot of us who are communicators have with a number of political reporters. You begin to have that sense of family. And the loss is indescribable because one feels, you know, we've lost a family member, one that was so dear, but one that was not shy to call you out.
Yes.
At the same time, extremely fair. You know, when Tidi didn't understand an issue, she will call. If I miss a call, I'll get a WhatsApp message that says, "You're ignoring my call." And I have to call very quickly.
Yes.
Because I don't want to be chastised by her for not picking up a call. And we will have a conversation about a particular issue. I'll explain it to her. Then she will say to me, "Okay, now I must record you," and explain it as you've just explained. And, you know, it was a wonderful, professional, but at the same time, sisterly, brotherly, loving relationship that I enjoyed with her. My particular memory was obviously when we were at the White House and we were at the Oval Office with the president during the bilateral meeting with President Trump. And obviously, like all South Africans, there was a level of anxiety and all other emotions with the experience that we all witnessed there. And you know, Tidi was not only an objective reporter, but was also a patriotic South African who did not take kindly to have a president treated in that manner and to have her country portrayed in that manner. She even went on to do interviews with other outlets where she asserted the true nature of South Africa without sugarcoating any of the challenges that we face. And so that memory will be forever etched in my mind of Tidi. And the many other conversations that I will have late into the night or early in the morning. It's a real loss, John. It's a real loss, not only for us in government to have an experienced, seasoned political editor and journalist, but also to the media fraternity. One will imagine that there are a lot of young people that she mentored, that she was still mentoring, that looked up to her, and they've suffered a huge loss, just all of us have.
Vincent Magwenya, thank you. Thoughts from the presidency, passing on not only his own memories and sense of deep loss, but also condolences from the president of the country. I must just respond to one thing they're saying. Younger journalists who she mentored and looked up to. Let me tell you, those of us who are not so young, there were many, many times when I thought, okay, let me think about how Tidi would frame and phrase this. So you never stop learning, and she was a wonderful teacher. 24 minutes past 5. Connie is on the line from Sandton. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, John. Good afternoon to 702 listeners. My condolences really to 702 and the Madia family. Really, I think it's such a loss for Tidi, such a remarkable, vibrant journalist. We've learned so much from her, especially from the valuable perspective of South African politics. And really, I enjoyed what she said when she was at the interview in Washington, where she really fought for our country, at that interview. And I think it's such a loss, such a young and vibrant person. I really, my condolences to her family and to you as her colleagues. Yeah, thank you so very much. She was amazing. She was amazing. Very, very vibrant.
Connie, thank you, and condolences to you as well. We'll certainly pass on all these messages of condolences to the family, whether they come in as calls on 011-883-0702 or as WhatsApps, either text or voice. Glenn's calling from the south of Johannesburg, from Winchester Hills. Glenn, good afternoon.
Good evening, John. Good evening to the listeners. Firstly, my condolences to the entire 702 family.
Thank you.
And her family. Tidi, I was infatuated with her voice. She was vibrant, and she was a gentle giant. I wish she would have been the president of South Africa. I'm devastated.
Yeah.
Really shocked. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn, and the feelings that you've just shared, both in your words and the way you express them, felt by so many other people. So we'll keep taking as many of your calls as we can. We'll hear Tidi's own voice and give you a sense of her remarkable work. And by the way, her work will live on our websites, on many platforms. We'll share with you some ideas. We have none of them particularly clearly formed, as you can imagine, in this moment. But we're going to make sure that the extraordinary body of work, which is in fact a contemporary record of South African history, changing as fast as it is, we'll make sure that that's always accessible and always put to the use that it should be. 26 minutes past 5.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebohile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
What are some of the things that we need to be looking at when we are choosing the appropriate medical aid plan?
From our experience, what we have found is that, people do not understand their medical aid well enough and sometimes makes these decisions purely based on the cash purchase, based on their affordability. But in answering your question, key for us in terms of the advice or guidance that we can give to the consumer is really understand what is your day-to-day healthcare needs, understand in terms of that of your own, in terms of how frequently do you actually seek healthcare requirements, and understanding in terms of what you're paying for.
Lee Kellecopen, Principal Officer of Benitez Medical Fund.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebohile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
Ready to lead and make our world a better place? Regenesis School of Education proudly launches its revolutionary Bachelor of Education program. They don't just develop teachers, they develop conscious leaders equipped with IQ, STEM, AI, and emotional intelligence. Study in the heart of Sandton or online worldwide with a world-class faculty trusted by over 1,000 corporations and 500,000 alumni from 150 countries. Enroll now at regenesis.net/education. Regenesis School of Education, awakening potential.
When you empower a woman, you empower a whole nation. Women have a remarkable way of multiplying whatever is placed in their hands. This August, we're celebrating Women's Month with the theme Building Resilient Economies for All. We reflect and honor the courageous women of 1956 who took a stand against the injustices of the past. we also recognize and celebrate all South African women who continue to lead, build, and inspire across every part of our society, from business and education to peace building and beyond. Yes, there is still much to be done. The pursuit to achieving total gender equality and empowerment will continue until every woman is able to enjoy the benefits of a safe and just society. #Rekaufela Basadi. #Women's Month 2025. A message by the National Department of Sport, Arts and Culture.
Are you ready to explore your beautiful country in style? With Lekker user-friendly accommodation booking app, finding the perfect stay has never been easier. Whether you're dreaming of a beach escape, a bush retreat, or a city adventure, Lekker has you covered with thousands of stays for every budget. Join millions of happy South Africans who book their stays on Lekker. Download the Lekker app today and easily book your next holiday.
EWN Business.
29 minutes past 5, over to Stephen Curtis with the very latest from the day's trade.
Good afternoon, John. Yeah, difficult for me to concentrate on markets, as I'm sure it's sort of difficult for you to concentrate on other things too. So the JSE in the end, the JSE All Share ending the day down 0.42% at 102,007 points. Financials up 0.17%, industrials down 0.58%, and resources down 0.75%. Essentially, quite a lot of corporate news today. Blue Label Telecoms ending the day down nearly 18%. Now, that share price has really been up very strongly over the last couple of months. It is going through a lot of changes. There was an update today. They did say that their core headline earnings had improved dramatically, but a lot of people waiting to see what's going to happen with Cell C when they spin that off, and that I think is one of the reasons for that. Some of the platinum miners down quite strongly. Sibanye Valterra, Implats all down by around 5% on the day, and MAS down again for a third straight day. They're down 3% on the day. I think it's a third straight day. Aspen up nearly 7% and Woolies up 5.87%. Some interesting corporate news, though. So Bidcorp down around 3% on the day. It's nearly Global Food and Services Group. They've confirmed their headline earnings are up by 6.9%. In Rand terms, their headline earnings are up 6.5%. They does say that many markets are battling at the moment, but it is still investing to grow. And then shares in Curo, the education group, they're up over 50%. The announcement today of an offer for the company by the Yanni Moulton Foundation. The foundation wants to turn it into a non-profit organization, which will essentially provide education for children around the country. Curo also confirming its revenue up 4.7% in the financial year to the end of June, but its total number of learners was down slightly. In the US, markets really waiting for results from Nvidia this afternoon, so things are a little bit muted. The Dow Jones is up 0.23%, the Nasdaq is up 0.12%, the S&P 500 is up 0.14%. The gold price right now, $3,389.87, heading back towards $3,400. I'm sure that's off the back of Trump's, in inverted commas, firing of Lisa Cook, the U.S. Federal Reserve Governor. The platinum price, $1,346.05. Brent crude, $67.11. The rand to the dollar, 17.71. To the euro, 20.56. To the British pound, 23.86. On the Money Show tonight, I'll share some more comments and some thoughts about the passing, all too soon, of course, of Tidi Madia. We'll also talk to Philip Morris, the tobacco company, and then results tonight from Curo. We'll speak to the CEO at Curo and one of the members of the foundation which wants to buy it, and we'll speak to the CEO at Bidcorp, Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
Right, let's get the very latest eyewitness news with Khumotso Modise. It's 28 minutes to 6.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Political journalist and broadcaster Tidi Madia has been described as a formidable journalist who always fought for the truth. These are just some of the words used to describe her as she passed away this morning. Her family has confirmed that Madia passed away in hospital at the age of 42 following a short illness. She was known for her robust and unapologetic pursuit for truth as a journalism powerhouse. She'll be sorely missed by family, friends and colleagues. The the presidency's Vincent Magwenya has remembered Madia for her professionalism.
Tidi was not only an objective reporter, but was also a patriotic South African who did not take kindly to have a president treated in that manner and to have her country portrayed in that manner. She even went on to do interviews with other outlets where she asserted the true nature of South Africa without sugarcoating any of the challenges that we face.
Tshwane Mayor Nasiphi Moya has entered into a payment plan to repay the almost 270,000 rand that she was overpaid by the municipality back in 2019. In 2019, Moya was one of 78 senior officials in the city who erroneously received upwards salary adjustments. At the time, Moya was working as the chief of staff to then Mayor Stevens Mokhalapa. Thabiso Koba has more.
In 2018, the Tshwane municipality was reclassified from Category A Grade 9 to Category A Grade 10, adjusting the salaries of senior managers in the city upwards. In 2019, Nasiphi Moya received a lump sum of 268,000 rand due to the reclassification. However, the city later conducted a benchmarking exercise which concluded it had overpaid 78 of its senior managers, including Moya. In a letter to the DA, Moya says she was made aware of her date in July 2024, 4 years after she resigned from her post. The DA's Jackie Ace.
It is unfortunate that Mayor Moya had to be prompted to do what is right instead of setting an example of her own accord.
This is the second time Moya has paid back the municipality. In 2020, the mayor was paid a 10,000 rand subsistence and travel allowance for a trip to Saudi Arabia, which was later cancelled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia has warned gangs operating in the Western Cape to stop shooting and committing crime. Kachalia today addressed Interpol top brass and dignitaries from across Africa and abroad on the opening day of the 27th Interpol African Regional Conference. The conference is being held at the Century City Conference Centre from today until Friday. Carlo Peterson is there.
Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia says he has requested a briefing from National Police Commissioner Fani Masimola about what the SAPS is doing to curb gang violence in the Western Cape. Kachalia says he made the request after being contacted by the Muslim Judicial Council and Anglican Archbishop Thabo Makgoba about escalating gang violence in Cape Town. The acting minister says he is also aware of reports related to the Western Cape Anti-Gang Unit lacking resources. Kachalia says he will be meeting with various stakeholders to discuss the situation on Monday. Kachalia confirmed he will be back in Cape Town in the second week of September to address the ongoing gang violence in the province. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News at Century City Convention Centre.
And the United States has postponed sanctions against Serbia's largest oil producer, Gazprom. This is the sixth time the sanctions have been postponed, and the latest ones have now been delayed until the 26th of September. Washington initially placed sanctions on Russia's oil sector on January the 10th and gave Gazprom 45 days to exit ownership of the Serbian oil industry. Serbia relies heavily on Russian gas supplies. The country has maintained a close relationship with Russia since its invasion on Ukraine, and the country has refused to impose sanctions on Russia, unlike the European Union, which it hopes to join. A partly cloudy Thursday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, lows of between 13 and 15 degrees and highs of between 27 and 29.
Well, at this stage in Chirina, traffic heavily backed up. This is on the Golden Highway between Chris Honey Road and the N1, while in Boksburg, we still have slow-moving traffic. N17 westbound between Heidelberg Road and Rondebolt, and in the Irene area, traffic pressure approaching the intersection of Nalmapius Drive and Main Road.
The top story in EWN this hour, renowned political journalist Tidi Madia has been described as a formidable journalist who always fought for the truth.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
South Africa's tourism sector is at a crossroads. You remember, of course, last week, Minister Patricia de Lille dissolved the board, the very board she appointed herself. They're calling you Dictator de Lille. Are you?
Let me say there's absolutely no crisis in the tourism sector. We just had one-day execution lab with the full sector. The Tourism Business Council, all of them were there. So there's no crisis.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Hollywood Bet Aziz Shege. Be on the Game is back for the new soccer season. Up for grabs is a share of 4 million rand in prizes, including the Toyota Rumion, Corolla Cross, Hilux 2.4 GD6 DC, and a Starlet Cross. To qualify, bet 10 rand or more on any soccer fixture or fixtures for your chance to score big. Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
Naked people have happier marriages. They're present. They listen. They even remember anniversaries. And that's because naked people get car and home insurance online in seconds, which means less time wasted on insurance admin and more time for date nights or couples therapy. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and get naked, people. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP.
The DSTV Delicious Festival, powered by Lotto Star, is back. With just one ticket, experience unforgettable music, mouth-watering food, bold fashion, and vibrant art. From Saturday 20 to Sunday 21 September, celebrate with friends and bring the family for a picnic on Sunday. This year, DSTV celebrates 30 years with international headliners, SA's hottest talent, and a feast that's as big as the vibe. It's Africa's biggest music and food festival. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster. The DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star and supported by 702. More on deliciousfestival.com.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Tidi, it is unbelievable. I am in shock. I am in total shock. I can almost hear her talking. I mean, her analysis, guys. I know as well. I was listening to her when she was doing that analysis for what was happening between South Africa and now the US, and also that one of Floyd Shibambo. I just wanted to hear what her thoughts are, because she was almost accurate all the time. Yeah, it is a sad one. It is a sad one for her family, for the Prime Media family, and South Africa as a whole. I can hear, when Julius Malema went like, Tidi, we're not going anywhere. Yeah, rest in peace, Tidi. You will be missed.
That was John. I'm out of words. I'm really out of words. I'm shaking. My blood is just rushing. I just can't believe this. The first thing that comes into my mind is, how is Clement doing, guys? One thing that's coming to my mind again is that interview they had with each other not so long ago, and one of them was crying. Siri was crying there. That hit me a lot, because I realized how much CD and Clement are tight, Hey, man, it's sad, It's sad, guys. It's sad. Hope all will be well. It's very painful. Thank you, guys. I'm Ganyas.
Hi, Uncle John. Yeah, I just turned on the radio and it's a bit of some sad news. Condolences to the family, colleagues. Yeah, it's a great loss. We enjoyed how she analyzed things, how she would unpack matters, and always looking at both sides of the fence. So may her soul rest in peace. That is a voice of an angel gone from the radio, but she will always be remembered. Thanks.
And thanks to all of you for those messages. It's so striking how many people have said, I'm out of words, but as you say you're out of words, you express so much in the way you say that you're out of words. So we appreciate that, and I'm sure that the family, even if they may not be listening, but certainly close friends and others too will be aware of the feeling out there, because it's as much a feeling as a set of words. So if you find yourself out of words, it's not a reason not to call us. We'd love to hear from you. This comes from Tabang. He says, this is a world not only to live in, but also a world to die in. Tidi's song has ended, but the melody lingers on. May you all be consoled by the beautiful messages of condolence. Rest in peace, Matsidiso. And amongst those beautiful messages, yours, Tabang, and we thank you for that. And also this one, I just want to make sure I acknowledge the sender Untatile, who says, Tidi's death has really left me heartbroken. She was such a great mind. I marveled at her analysis and opinions all the time. A critical thinker, absolutely fair in her judgment, an objective woman in her own right. And concludes by saying, in a country starved of sound and sober-mindedness, we have drawn nearer to famine with this loss. Ki Butluko. Thanks for those. Let's take another call. Mark's Mapunyane calling in. You know him well. Mark's, a very good afternoon to you. Thanks for calling us. I'm sure you have thoughts on Tidi and her passing.
Yeah, good afternoon, John, and condolences to the 702 family and Madia family. When I heard about Tidi's passing, I just had a lump on my throat, as if I have met her, but just is the power of the radio. I mean, I always listen to Tidi and her factual, vibrant, fearless reporting. And also she would fit in perfectly sitting in for Mandy and Clement. Just recently she was sitting in for Clement. And one thing that I will never forget about 702 promo on CD is you on record, CD. And I thought, wow, this man is defeated. So, John, I have to say, may her soul rest in eternal peace. It's a sad loss.
Marks Mapunyani, thank you. A tribute to a legend from another legend. Marks calling in and obviously hugely appreciative of the many, many roles that Tidi played on the station. Let's remind ourselves of the brilliance of her work.
This is Politricking with Tidi Madia on EWN.
Hello, welcome to Politricking with myself, Tidi Madia, episode 11, season 6 of a politics podcast brought to you by Eyewitness News. I know you want me to tell you about the US. I know you want me to tell you about that bizarre interview that I had with Newsnight. I was irritated. I was bored because some things about the South African experience should not be explained. Some things are actually so easy to see. If you're looking for them, you'll see them. If you open your eyes to see, you'll see them. And I got the feeling that there are some pockets of the US that are not willing to see, no matter what you do, to shine a light on South Africa's truth. So that interview that went viral, yes, I just went viral. That interview that went viral really is about that, from my understanding. And I keep saying to people, I don't think I said anything out of the ordinary. Like, it wasn't like, oh, no, I would normally. Those are very normal sentiments for me. But I think in this context, why I think it matters, I'm trying to still process it, is because I said what people wanted to say. Does that make sense? Like, people were irritated watching the ongoings in the White House, in the Oval Office. That's diplomacy at play. That's trying to protect an economy at play. I don't have that baggage. So I can just tell you what I understand about South Africa, and that's what I sought to do. So for all the love, all the praises, all the being labeled a patriot is nice. I like that. I take that ownership. I take ownership of that. So thank you so much. I'll continue doing me. There was nothing different. And in continuing that vein, I've got Kenny Kunene with me in studio. He is the deputy president of the Patriotic Alliance, but most importantly, to residents of Joburg.
Politricking, what a treasure trove of political conversation, insight, and the warmth of our much-loved, much-admired, and sadly missed colleague Tidi Madia. We'll get back to some of the work that she's done. We'll get back to the thoughts that you have and the condolences you wish to share. But right now, let's make sure we also get you home.
EWN Traffic.
Karabo Chale, a very good afternoon to you again as we move towards the darkness of the sun going down and the roads getting more difficult. What are we looking at?
Well, at this stage, John, if you're in the Naturina area heading towards El Dorado Park, Devlin, bumper-to-bumper traffic on the Golden Highway. This is between Chris Hani Road and the N1 due to those ongoing roadworks. There's also slow-moving traffic driving through the Joburg CBD. You can expect about a 20-minute delay through there. M1 southbound between Killarney Benz and the Crown Interchange in the East Rand, Boksburg, slow-moving traffic. N17 westbound. This is between Heidelberg Road and Rondebolt. That's leaving Brakpan heading towards Germiston. Also slow-moving traffic in the Centurion area. This is on the N1 northbound between Buerta Avenue and Atterbury. Also, we still have slow-moving traffic if you are leaving the Pretoria CBD on Steve Biko between Francis Bard and Flower Street. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, our tributes to our colleague Tidi Madia continue on the show. If you want to join in and share some thoughts, share some views, or just express your sense of both admiration and loss for a quite remarkable woman, by all means do call us 011-883-0702. This from Links, again beautifully put. Heartfelt condolences to the Madia and 702 families on the sad passing of Matsidiso Madia. She had an incisive and sharp intellect and political mind, and I, like many others, loved listening to her commentary on the political machinations in our beloved country. May her beautiful soul rest in eternal peace. A thought echoed by many. Mabule is on the line from Pretoria. Mabule, good afternoon to you, and condolences to you as well.
Good afternoon, John. Just after her appearance with the Fox News, my wife, who's based in Polokwane, doesn't have the privilege to listen to 702, was just shocked how brilliant she was, and I told her, you see, that's what we get exposed to here in Gauteng. But I must say, beginning of this year or sometime last year, there was a time when 702 requested us as listeners to suggest or to give feedback in terms of your programming and so on. My input was specifically to say I feel CD needs to be given more airtime because she comes in once in a while, and yes. I really felt somewhere in Mendy's show on the midday report or on your show, and I'll try and get that input that I made, as well as I can screenshot it for you. I felt somewhere on your show or someone on Mendy's show, she needed to have a permanent future. And I understand it's not an easy thing, but I just felt she was so good and we didn't get enough. But I'm sure in the background, all the inputs she was making came through. But I felt we also needed her voice. And I must say, whenever she stood in for either Clement or Mendy, I really enjoyed the shows. But I felt permanently she needed to be on it. But I must say, with the time that she served, she was really good. I just wish we had more of her, and that was my input during that feedback session, you know.
Mabule, thank you very much. And just while your point is well taken, harking back to the words of both Nisa Ali, editor-in-chief at EWN, and also Mzotolo George Wana, our chief content officer here at Prime Media, both of them very much reflecting on all the stuff that she did that you don't get to see. Or hear, rather, on a radio broadcast, working with younger journalists, giving input, giving ideas. And I would certainly say that was true of the show that I have the privilege to host, 702 Drive. How often would we say, find out from Tidi what's going on? Never mind having a specific question. Listen, this thing seems to be happening. Can someone ask Tidi what is going on? That was sometimes the breadth and depth of our question, but boy, did she reduce it to manageable proportions and do so quickly. Let's take another call from another person who you know very well. His own distinguished career on 702 would have given him an opportunity to get to know Tidi Madia very well. As we heard from Katie Catapodis earlier, she started off in traffic, and who would know about that part of her career better than Aki Anastasio? And Aki, condolences to you. I'm sure you have many memories, but also some thoughts. Good afternoon to you.
Hi, good evening to you, John. What devastating news. I was literally driving down Rivonia Road when I heard the name Tidi and, rest in peace. And it just took me a few seconds to digest what I was listening to on the radio, and I'm totally devastated. You know, what an incredible human being. And yes, she started at the traffic desk, and she was my assistant many years ago. And you know, from the day I met her, I was just mesmerized by her mind. She had this most incredible analytical mind.
Yes.
She was larger than life, and she had such a wicked sense of humor. And why I couldn't believe listening to what you were talking about is just the other day she was in for Clement, and I sent her a WhatsApp. She was doing the sexually speaking slot, and I said, "Hi, Bo, where do you find these people?" You know,
Yes,
and we had
yes.
just a laugh off air, communicating via WhatsApp. And now I hear this terrible news, and I'm just totally devastated. We've lost an incredible political mind, and I picked it up from the days that she was working with me together at the traffic desk, and she was never afraid to speak her mind. She had such a sharp mind, and as you've heard from the people paying tribute, this incredible analysis and a wicked sense of humor and a very infectious laugh. And we've lost an incredible human being. And she always used to talk about how she loved Thabo Mbeki. I think Thabo Mbeki must have been her favorite politician. But I'm at a loss for words, John, and my condolences to the Matshidiso family. And really, I'm at a loss for words. I'm very sad.
Well, you've shared a great deal with us, Aki, and we thank you for that. But let me share with you this from somebody who you would know well. Nobuhle Simelane sent me this, and you feature here. I'll read it. What sad news about Tidi? We started together as cubs at EWN. We would giggle in the mornings as she sat next to Aki, helping him compile his morning traffic updates for John Robbie's show, and I was producing Reedy. We later met up as the launch team for Power FM. She really loved storytelling. So, Aki, those early memories, and I hope in your sadness you take some pride in what I'm sure was your role in launching a stellar radio career. Aki Anastasio, who you all know well, a real figure in the history of 702 over many years.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
What do South Africans who are looking to add value do tomorrow?
Support Proudly South African.
Does that mean labor, manufacturing?
Across. No. I have nothing against anybody else's country. I just love mine. The second, when one of us fails, give grace and criticize in private so you help the other person grows. And then the third, stop seeing your politicians as rock stars. They are here to do the job for you. You are not there to ululate for them when they arrive at the stadium.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Outsurance is simply the best at ensuring you have a great claims experience. Outsurance has again lowered their number of complaints per 1,000 claims, referred to the Ombudsman, and on top of it scored 9.99 on the Hello Peter Trust Index, plus a near 5-star rating on Google Reviews. Isn't it time you switch to the insurer where you always get something out? Visit outsurance.co.za today. Licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's and information online.
Choose your health. Choose Clicks. Choose to speak to our pharmacists who are available to answer your questions and assist you with your medication queries, prescription advice and more at your convenience. Choose expert healthcare advice. Choose our pharmacy chat service. Request a call back at clicks.co.za or inquire on the Clicks app today. T's and C's apply. Choose your health. Choose Clicks. Feel good? Pay less.
Shane. Do you have a sore throat? The Andalex range of lozenges offers 2 options. At the first signs of an irritated, scratchy throat, use Andalex lozenges for dual action, soothing relief. But for a painful, inflamed throat, use Andalex C lozenges for triple action, pain relief. Andalex, SA's #1 choice for a sore mouth and throat. Andalex lozenges are available at all leading pharmacies and supermarkets.
Just Andalex it. You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Well, behind every great journalist, and Tidi Madia certainly was that, is a person, and in her case, a wonderful and much-loved person. That personality came out wonderfully in Clement Manyatella's Hanging Out feature when he had Tidi as his guest. Now, one of the things Clement asks his guests to do is choose some music. Tidi selected quite a few. We're going to play you this one from Miriam Makeba, Aluta Continua.
My people, open your eyes and answer the call of the drum. Frelimo, Frelimo, Samora Machel, Samora Machel has come. Maputo, Maputo, home of the brave, our nation will soon be as one. Frelimo, Frelimo, Samora Machel, Samora Machel has won.
Tidi Madia loved life, loved music, and as so many people have said, loved South Africa as well. Thank you so much for holding us in the warm embrace of the 702 family, as myself and so many of my colleagues, particularly those who work closely with her at EWN, come to terms with this unimaginable loss. We have felt your warm embrace, and we thank you for that. Tributes continuing throughout the day on 702, and I'm sure my colleagues tomorrow will want to say their say about somebody who had such a huge impact on them and who will be sadly and greatly missed, but celebrated as well. From the 702 Drive team, I'm John Perlman. Good night to you.
And now, The Money Show
with Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app
and DSTV channel 856.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA CIB, proud sponsor of the SARA Rail Conference 2025, powering progress.